Honk honk, motherfuckers. It's the Computer Game Show. My name is Sean Bell. I'm joined by Matthew Murray.
Okay, I was not expecting that.
Me neither, mate. It just came from the heart. And James Farley.
What was that, Sean? Honestly.
I don't know. Look, this is what happens when I try and do jokes. Everyone's just like, whoa, what is going on?
It's going a bit far, that's why. You build up to something like that. You don't just pull it out the bag like that.
You're thinking that Sean should at 2/3 of the way through the show?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. James is trying to do the news section, and I'll just start. Yeah.
No, you should have dropped a couple of F-bombs during the feedback and then built up to it. It's just too much.
I mean, F-bombs are pretty liberal throughout, aren't they?
I don't think there's any amount of setup and and building up that you can prepare anyone for honk honk motherfuckers.
No, I mean we are listed as explicit on iTunes, right?
Yeah, we can say whatever we want.
Okay, good.
Within reason.
Within reason. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Doesn't mean you have to, though.
This show and the things that sort of orbit around it are supported by Patreon. If you want to head to patreon.com/TCGS, you can pay for extra stuff. And some people who've done that, who are at our Patreon producer tier, are Alan M. Nash, Barney Sparkles, Steve Garrett, and Aaron Patrick. Thank you very much, gents. Matt, do you want to get on to feedback?
Let's do it. Lucy Acquire has messaged us with the subject line of James's unfinished plate. Dear TCGS Sages, I would like to congratulate you on your consistently engaging output, thank you. As James's playthrough of Quantum Break comes to an end, and in the spirit of the original stream that made him a Let's Play sensation, I thought I would write in to humbly suggest that his next games be the recent Arcane Studios output, Dishonored 2, Prey. The reason being that Quantic Dream helped develop each of these three titles.
What?
Forgive me for being pedantic, but if Dr. Farley aims to work through each of the titles from the studio David Cage built, these are just some of the pending list of games it is yet to cover to achieve his completionist streak. Red Steel 2 on Wii is another. Thanks again for your terrific work.
I had no idea that. This is true.
Yeah, well, so I didn't look into the Arcane stuff, but I looked into Red Steel 2. Yeah, they helped with the motion capture stuff on it.
Well, obviously not the story.
I don't know if that's... You're saying?
Obviously not the story.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, Red Steel 2 is a banger. I mean, so are the Dishonored games, allegedly.
I've played them. I've played them both. It's
well, there you go. Well, so that's already ticked off. I mean, does that count if you didn't stream them though?
I don't know. I mean, I've played Dishonored and Dishonored 2. I haven't played Prey though, and but
okay.
Matt's played it though, haven't you?
Yeah, it's excellent. I sold that at the time I needed the money, but it's a brilliant game. I reckon you'd love it as well, James.
Yeah, it was on Game Pass, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about how amazing the Moon Crash DLC is, right? It's like a randomly generated mode.
Yeah, I heard the DLC is great. I didn't know it was on Game Pass. That's brilliant. I'll crack on then. Last week we talked about Salmon Run and more specifically Splatoon 2. Thea Allen, you're probably not going to go back to it, but Salmon Run started running every day for about 2 months into Splatoon 2's life. Although by that point it was obviously way too late. I also mentioned there was a discussion about what would your Splatfest be, and I mentioned, well, nice to have some swear words in there. Matt says there's no swears in Splatoon. However, Pearl canonically says fuck, censored, of course, in Octo expansion.
Excellent. I did not know that. I didn't know the Salmon Run thing either. They probably should have made more noise about that.
Also made it easier to play together as well. Would have been nice.
Well, there is that. I mean, it wasn't too bad in Salmon Run. It was just the not running every day thing that threw a lot of people off. But yeah, no, that is good info. Thank you, Athene.
Yeah. I mean, if they'd only done that from the beginning, I remember when they first started, I was like, hang on, it's Sundays, Thursdays, and some other days. Like, is this a joke?
Yeah.
What do you mean certain?
It's got a life, mate.
What do you mean certain days? Yeah. Oh, horrendous. Last week, Sean did a massive lie and hoped to get away with it, but Louis Proctor is on the case. Pretty sure Sean is thinking of the WiiU gamepad that had unused space for a larger battery, not the Switch. Sean, do you want to publicly apologise now to every listener?
I do want to publicly apologise. Friend of the show, Chris Spann, texted me on the day the episode came out. He's like, I think you'd be thinking of the WiiU, mate.
I think you've embarrassed yourself,
if you haven't heard last week's episode, I went on this whole thing about how the Switch has like a smaller battery than the compartment that the battery can go in. Therefore, it's really easy to expand. Total nonsense. I was thinking of the Wii U. I've got no excuses other than being thick.
It's all right. It's easy to forget the Wii U. Like that.
It is, to be fair. We just sort of Yeah, you just combine the memories, don't you? It's like, oh no, that's all on the Switch. It's fine. WiiU never happened.
It's interesting because when you said that, I was like, well, that's interesting. I wasn't aware you could upgrade the Switch battery. I've never really heard of that.
Why is no one else reporting on this? This
is brilliant. Oh, no, wait. It doesn't exist. Right, let's go on to some Babylon 5 feedback because, of course, that's where we are now.
The real shit.
On this show. Ali Doherty at Dwarf Boys on Twitter. 1 minute in, I've never seen Babylon 5, but I dare say Garibaldi was named after the general rather than the biscuit which is famously named after the general. You knew that, right, James? Come on.
Of course, but I think by that point, I tune. The trouble is, as soon as I hear the word Babylon 5, I start tuning out. So I don't think I noticed that as it happened. But yeah, obviously. Yeah.
That's dangerous words to say, especially when James McCall has emailed in. Babylon 5 is my most favourite TV show of all time. Paramount and Deep Space Nine stole most of their ideas from their show from Babylon 5, which was offered to Paramount a whole year before DS9 came out. Warner Brothers and Babylon 5 creator Michael Straczynski, I think I'm butchering the name, sued Paramount after realising how similar Star Trek was to Babylon 5 and received a settlement out of court due to the massive similarities. So if DS9 is anyone's favourite Star Trek show, just to let you know, it's mostly nicked.
We already knew this because this has been like a story for like years and years and years that this is true, and obviously it's true. But then also DS9 probably did take things in different directions, and also has all the backstory of all the different alien groups and everything.
Yeah, stolen backstory by the sounds of it.
Yeah, but also it's not Babylon 5, so it's Star Trek.
It's definitely shitty, but at least both shows got made.
Yeah,
it's not like. Yeah, it's not like Babylon 5 never happened as a result, but no, it is like I looked into it after reading this, so I didn't know about this.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, it is pretty shocking how much they just stole, but hey ho.
I don't care because DS9 was still amazing.
Sorry, what's that, James?
I said I don't care because DS9 was still amazing. It's still one of the best shows ever. I should watch Babylon 5 at one point, but it's I don't know. How long is it? I can't remember. How many seasons is it? Is it like 5 or something?
It's not. Not as many as DS9, I think.
Yeah.
Is it streaming on anything? I don't
know, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, you won't be able to stream it, but I'm not sure if any of you follow Gary Whitta on any of his social channels or know
I don't.
who
I'm
he is.
aware of him.
Well, yeah, obviously he wrote Book of Eli and that Will Smith movie, which is really bad, but also Rogue One more recently, and a former PC gamer.
Wait, which Will Smith movie?
It's the one with him and his son land on that planet. I keep thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. James, does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay, cool. Anyway, it was a terrible film. Anyway, but he Book of Eli recently came out on Netflix, and he wanted to do like a live commentary. Obviously, you can't stream a Netflix show on Twitch, but what he did was he did like a sort of live commentary whilst he's got all his viewers to press play at the same time, as it were, in Netflix. You should do that. So everyone presses play on DS9 on whatever they're watching, and you can do a live commentary whilst watching it. How about that, James?
All right.
Add it to the list. No, are you not up for that, James?
I don't know. Maybe.
I just thought it was funny, the idea of someone doing a commentary for something they've never seen before.
Yeah, we could do that. It could be interesting.
Brilliant. Okay, well that's in the calendar. Yeah. We'll finish feedback with Ryan Haman. Hey TCGS team, I'm not trying to come in finger wagging, but since it came up on the last show, I was hoping that we could kind of move past the time waifus as a culture. There's something that has always felt a bit racist about the term to me. Like, we know it's a bit weird to have feelings stirred by anime characters, so we use this othering language to you put this slightly deviant sexual thing within an identifiably Japanese space. Like, whenever people engage in feelings for fictional characters, they have to put on a Japanese pronunciation of the word. It serves to, 1, distance yourself from a perhaps socially unacceptable interest. I'm not going to judge what people are into, and people should own it if that's what they like. And 2, it lumps these sexual... fucking hell, why can't I say these
proclivities?
Words? That's the one. These sexual things onto Japanese culture, which already has an unfortunate stigma of being a bit sexually eccentric. I see it as being the same thing as some put on an exaggerated Jamaican accent when talking about marijuana or something. It comes off as lightly racist. I don't mean to harsh anyone's fun, just hoping we can move past this particular meme. Thanks again for the hours of entertainment and podcasting. The show continues to be a highlight of my week.
So, the thing with this is, I disagree, because there's more to it than, it's not just like, Western people going, let's say one of our words with a Japanese accent. There's more history to it than that. But do I want to be the guy who spends several minutes arguing the case for being allowed to say the word waifu on a podcast? Not really. So,
but if you do, you'll probably be the king of Reddit.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, it's one of those things. If you Google it, you get the odd person saying, "Look, I think this might be racist," and then loads of really horrible people like arguing why they should be allowed to say it. So maybe we are on the wrong side here. But yeah, it costs me nothing to stop saying it. So yeah, fine.
Yeah. And that's the last time I mention waifus.
Waifus.
What did I say? Fucking hell, it's because I read it as waifus.
See, Matt's the most disrespectful of all. He can't even say it right.
Yeah. Maybe that's a compromise, though. Maybe we can say that instead of waifu. We can just say waifu all the time.
Yeah, see, that's...
So, it's not even a real word.
It'd be nice if it's spelled W... Oh, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's it for feedback. It's at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us feedback on Twitter. Or you can email podcast at thecomputergameshow.com.
Cool. James, I always forget, were you a Game of Thrones man?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. I know, obviously, a couple of months back I did the funny news intro where I sort of pretended to talk about the final episode, but I've been thinking about the first episode, and when, Bran Stark's climbing around on the tower and he sees the two Lannisters, the two siblings, having full penetrative sex, and as a result, obviously, because he's seen something that's so shocking and sensitive and, earth-shattering that he has to be killed because of what he knows.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking that's the experience I want from the news this week, please.
Okay, so you want me to, basically shatter your mind with this news?
Basically, yeah. I need some gaming news that's so salacious that I actually should be killed.
Okay.
So that it doesn't go any further.
And you want me to, I was going to say, you want me to, push you out of a tower or something?
Please, yeah. Well, yeah. Just put me in a position where, that's what needs to happen.
So you need some sort of incestual news, is that what you're thinking?
Basically, yeah. Or just something on that level.
Jesus.
Right. I'll try.
Don't
mate.
try.
Okay. Microsoft, the cloud partnership is all driven by Sony. So,
whoa!
What this is Satya Nadella talking about the Azure deal that was done recently with Sony, and he said that this was all driven by Sony. And the quote was basically and fundamentally, the fact that we have a business model in the areas that we're partnering with them when we're dependent on their success. So we will do the best job for them, whether it's in the cloud or whether it is AI or what have you, in order to make sure that Sony can succeed with their own IP creation. So he's basically arguing that it's in Microsoft's interests for Sony to continue succeeding with the PlayStation because they're going to be using, Microsoft tech or whatever for it, so they still get paid in loads of money anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's true. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that it's driven by Sony, and it makes total sense. I mean, we've talked about this before, but loads of other companies use Amazon servers and stuff, like competitors do that, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, Microsoft wants Sony to be killing it as much as they are, because they're getting the money from both ends.
Yeah, because I think, Apple use Amazon Web Service, don't they, for iCloud, as far as I know. And, so I guess that's true. I mean, maybe Nintendo are going to jump on the, Azure bandwagon as well, or one of these others, rather... Because it does seem easier rather than just creating their whole... I mean, would you trust Nintendo to build their own cloud infrastructure?
Absolutely not, no. I would say that, if they announce a partnership, I wouldn't be surprised, but also it's Nintendo, so anything can happen, really.
And wouldn't it be nice if the general tribalism around consoles just fucked off?
Would it though?
If that's what this was the start of, would it actually look?
It's happening in some ways. With all those the three bosses appeared on the Game Awards stage, and with crossplay and this that, and the other.
That's true. I just wonder how much of that is actually sort of seeping down into angry teenager level. Are they still really sort of flying the flag for certain formats? Or obviously we're all adults, so we're not really bothered, to that degree.
You can find them an Xbox fanboy if you remember the feedback from a few weeks ago. Actually,
that's true. It's true.
But, I mean, that is not going to change though, whilst people are still investing large amounts of money in hardware. because that's the reason that people do that. And I guess maybe
because when you spent £400 on a console, you need to convince yourself that is the one you should have bought, and you can't even entertain the idea of buying another one unless you're rich as fuck and you can just buy the lot.
Were you guys doing that when you bought Wii U's?
You're
like, you know what, this is great. So
no,
I always
it genuinely was good, Matt.
It was absolutely fine. No, I had like a mild windfall at work, which basically involved me uncovering a conspiracy that none of us were getting paid properly for our holidays. So everyone got a bit of money out of that, including me. So I had the cash at the time. I think if I hadn't, I would have waited and then got one for 50p 6 months later. So yeah, that was my treat for sorting that out, basically.
Right, yeah. So, but yeah, this is good. I mean, I think Nintendo will probably do the same thing in a few years' time. But yeah, like this makes sense, and it's like other conversations and discussions I've had where, like, I think Phil Spencer might have said on the podcast and if you recently, like, we want Sony to do well. Like, if even forgetting this stuff, but ultimately, like, the industry would be worse off if were Sony to fail. Like, we want competitive people at the top of their game. We want a successful Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, because that's ultimately going to hopefully grow the industry and make it bigger and better. If, like, Nintendo said we're not going to bother anymore, and Microsoft's like, it's not making us as much money, and it's just Sony, it'll be rubbish.
Well, it's always been, it was rubbish before, wasn't it, when Sony were like so far ahead, and then you get like just ridiculous arrogance with stuff, and you start. I mean, I feel we started to see that with the PS4 as well. Like, the sort of like,
absolutely.
We don't need to do crossplay. We don't need to do like whatever because we're number one. It doesn't matter, and it's just rubbish when they're like that. But then it's the same sort of thing. I wouldn't say it's the same sort of thing because, like, with Microsoft when they went all in on the Kinect and everything, and it was like that. That was like a thing. And, they sort of felt they could do no wrong, I think, at that point, because it was doing so well. But, it was awful.
Well, I think because Microsoft had that success with the Kinect on 360.
Yeah, exactly.
Combined with, like, the Wii... Well, I guess, like, the Wii, like, prompted Kinect stuff, although, honestly, I bet Kinect stuff's probably in the making, probably even before the Wii came out. But either way, all seemed pretty convenient.
I mean, if you think about that Xbox One thing that we watched, the whole like sort of reveal of the the TV and all that sort of stuff, that was just an entire conference of hubris based on the fact that like the Kinect for 360 had done really well, and they still seem to think that people were really into that and that was the future. And it's whenever they get totally hooked on the hubris of stuff, that's when it becomes a disaster. But entertaining.
Yeah, I still maintain that £130 Kinect like accessory was a great idea, and they sold absolutely millions, didn't they?
No, when I mean entertaining, I mean the hubris is entertaining, not the product. The Kinect was not entertaining, Matt.
Well, not at any point. I could say Netflix pause and Xbox on.
I don't think I've ever. I just assumed that at some point I must have used a Kinect. Yes, I did. It was in a shop, and I played. Was it Child of Eden? Yeah, the Mizuguchi one.
I really did that in the shop.
I got to be a space wizard for 10 minutes in the middle of a shop, and probably looked amazing doing it.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally. And that was kind of it. That was all I needed from it.
Yeah, I still maintain. It was good.
Yeah,
it was not
okay.
Well, I still maintain. I got my money's worth.
I mean, I remember being over David's house. I remember being over David's house once, and he was demoing the speech thing to me, and it wasn't working like quite a few times, and it was quite funny because he was like, "It's really good."
But I think it worked way more than it didn't work, and I definitely got my money's worth.
It still wasn't.
I mean, obviously it's well documented at this point that like it was supposed to be a lot better. Like on paper, clearly, it's really it's potentially really interesting technology. It was just that it got the spec just got massively reduced by the time it actually came out. So the whole, sort of Milo and Kate and everything was never going to be possible. But like devs at the time were legitimately like, well, this is this is what they've told us it can do. These are the specs. Let's put, knock together sort of potential scenarios based on that. And it can do all these amazing things. And it still could if they really wanted to put money into it.
Yeah. And Dance Central was brilliant fun. Connect Sports was fantastic, 1 and 2.
Fair enough.
They're all right.
No, they're great fun.
They weren't like Wii Sports good though, Matt. They really weren't.
No, of course not. But they're still bloody good fun. I mean, I think there's New Year's Eve one year. Me and Dave were up to like 4 a.m. playing like Connect Sports Golf or whatever. I think that might be on the second one, but yeah, we had great fun on that. Great.
See,
fun.
my memory of that was being up at your house and like you were playing that and you standing there holding your hand out by your side like all the time, like to try and get it to like
because I had to control the menu.
What was the one? Was it just called You're in the Movies, where you could put yourself in films?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And I never played it, but I always wanted to because I saw a lot of funny clips. Like if that was released now, in fact, you could probably just do it with smartphones now, couldn't you?
Yeah.
They're clever enough. But yeah, like obviously there wasn't really like a particularly good sort of short video sharing mechanism at the time. But I remember seeing lots of funny stuff coming out of that. That seemed like good fun.
Yeah, and like on Connect Sports, you could there's a bit towards the end of like I don't know the round or whatever, and you were then like a statue, but you can like move all your limbs and stuff and shout and scream and then record that as a video. And funny. Well, it made me laugh a lot anyway.
It's no iToy though, was it?
No, it really isn't. No, shame.
Okay,
right, what else we got, James?
Let's not talk about Connect. Let's move on to something else. So,
yes.
Nintendo are apparently going to fix Joy-Cons that are experiencing drift for free, but then obviously outside the UK. So,
brilliant.
So, according to Vice, Nintendo have now told their customer service representatives to stop charging people for Joy-Con drift repairs, but also, in addition, people who have been paid should be refunded. That was the other thing they said. So that means I should get money back because I've had them repaired on that, and it didn't happen. So they said customers will no longer be requested to provide proof of purchase for Joy-Con repairs. Additionally, it is not necessary to confirm warranty status if a customer requests a refund for a previously paid Joy-Con repair. Then it just says confirm the repair and then issue a refund. So Eurogamer talked with Nintendo UK and they said they didn't know anything about this at all. So we're going to have to continue paying, it seems. But
amazing. So this is interesting because mine went this week.
Yeah.
Suddenly started getting the drift on the hottest day of the year so far, which made me wonder if it's a heat or humidity thing, which is why suddenly it's cropping up everywhere. But by the by. Yeah, and I was like, fuck, okay, I'll have to send them off. I've changed the casing on my Joy-Cons, therefore there is no way that, warranty or no, like, they will not look twice at them. So, as it happened, I just sort of took it apart and put it back together again, and it seems to work. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was the ribbon cable was being weird, or if it just, obviously I like sort of, messed around with it and like cleaned it up and stuff. That made any difference. Everyone's saying that apparently if you just use a bit of contact cleaner on it, like a bit of WD-40 or whatever, that seems to do the job as well.
Yeah, I've just bought some of that because mine's also started doing this week as well. Like another one. It's like I'm getting the right stick on the right, like the right stick, like sort of drifting to the right slightly. Yeah. And I noticed it when I was playing Doom. It just kept doing it, and it's very irritating.
Yeah, that's great.
But Sean, if you put your original cases back on the Joy-Con and sent it back to them, would that be fine?
Can I be bothered though? I mean, honestly, I think at this point I'd rather just pay the £65 again. Get a new set. Which I nearly did, and I was like, no, that's absurd. This could still be fixable because it's as I say, because I changed the cases, I am comfortable opening these up now and tinkering with them. But that's not a solution for everyone. And even if the repairs are free, it's still shit that you've got to send them off and wait.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but you see, people have had these repaired and then it happens again later. And so you're just thinking, this is probably going to cost Nintendo a bunch of cash, isn't it? Because
I would be fascinated to find out if they are actually replacing any parts or if they are just firing some WD-40 at them and sending them back.
Because if they're doing that, this is going to cost a lot because they're just going to have to keep on doing this over and over and over again. It's
probably get to the point where it would have been more cost effective to just replace them and be done with it. But hey ho. It's a weird situation, and it's just fascinating because obviously when the console first launched, it was like there were all these sort of potential issues, like Joy-Con keeps cutting out and stuff, and that I don't know if that issue like actually went away or it just doesn't actually bother anyone. Like it just turned out in the real world, it just wasn't really a problem.
Yeah.
But certainly you don't hear anyone talking about that anymore, and yet suddenly all the sticks on them have started crapping out, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, do you think, is this going to be their like Red Ring of Death, or It's always
Probably
hard to
not.
work
God,
out
that's the
how
point.
big of an issue these things are.
I doubt it'd be as expensive as that, because that was like entire machines, wasn't it, that were just dying and had to replace
Yeah,
all
so
the boards.
basically, like you would send it off for repair and you would just get a new one. Well, not a new one, but another reconditioned one or whatever. I mean, obviously, it's not the end of the world to send your controllers off. And I mean, I don't know how long the turnaround is, but say it's a week. You should have bigger problems. But
It's still irritating.
equally, if this happened, so obviously, Fire Emblem came out this week, and it was 2 days before it came out that my stick was fucked. If I had to send them off and I couldn't play the game otherwise, I'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not great.
But I guess if it's within the first 12 months, I would just send mine back to the shop I bought it from.
That's true.
I've done it with
Yeah.
Amazon
I
before.
want a new one.
Yeah, with Amazon I've done that, where things weren't working. I just got a new one sent. But yeah. Anyway, I guess. I mean, yeah. So it's happened. It's happened to both of you, but yours is fixed a little bit now, Sean, with the taking apart.
Yeah, I mean, it seems fine so far. Touch wood. But then they do sort of occasionally things so having opened them up to do this, I then put it all back together and was like, right, cool. And then I was using it for a bit and then realised my plus button just wasn't moving. Because the fun thing with Joy-Cons when you open them up is, generally, if you take a piece of consumer electronics apart, when you put it back together, you tighten all the screws as much as you can, right? You want everything to be fully
rock solid,
secure. Yeah, not so with Joy-Cons. You need to play around with it. Some things need to be a little bit loose. Because if you tighten everything all the way, some of the buttons will just stick. So it's sometimes there's a bit of trial and error. It might be after a couple of days you'll sort of find another issue and you have to sort of tweak it again. But touch wood, it's been fine for the last sort of week. So
awesome.
Yeah. Well, okay, James.
Next story. Media Molecule wants to pay developers to make games in dreams. So,
because they've realised most people are rubbish at it.
So anyway, here's the details, Sean, before you start that. It says Media Molecule are now calling on development teams to work with dreams. So they got an advert which says some of the exciting opportunities we have require the skills of a small professional development team. Are you a small dev team looking to collaborate on something larger or looking for a small project to help fund your next gig? This isn't just normal outsourcing, it is much more about finding teams that want to collaborate with us on content for dreams. We're a little light on requirements as this is an exploratory call-out, but needless to say, experience with creating in dreams is required. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how much they're offering for this as well, and whether anyone's going to be interested, because what do you think about this? I mean,
I think it's really interesting, and especially, so they mention... maybe looking for a small project to help fund your next gig. It's a really common problem with small studios. Unless you're successful enough to just, basically do whatever you want, which is pretty rare. Mike Biffle has talked about this on a podcast when he was basically between projects and he'd hired people to make one game. And then there was I think this was when he was waiting to find out if they were going to be able to do John Wick or not, John Wick Hex, the one they're working on now. And there was 6 months where he was well, I could sack everyone and then try and rehire them in 6 months, but that's really shitty and they might not be available and I really like the team I've got. So that was how how Subsurface Circular came about, because he was that will just fill some time and it will make a bit of money. So this could be a really interesting opportunity for devs who are just look, we've got 3 to 6 months before we can definitely start our next thing, and we could do with making some money in the meantime, or else we will close down or have to sack people. So this could be a really interesting proposition. It was like you say though, it sort of entirely depends how much money they're putting into it. I mean, I would hope, Media Molecule they sort of have this indie vibe about them, even though they're very much looked after by Sony, as far as I'm aware. You would hope they would be sympathetic to small developers and make sure they get well paid for it. I mean, also, it'd just be really cool to see what actual teams can do with Dreams, because as I've mentioned, I've not played a huge amount of it, but what a lot of the user created stuff I've played, I've not been particularly thrilled by. So yeah, why not open it up to actual devs and pay them to do stuff for it? That could be really interesting.
I mean, this was the thing. I mean, what we were talking about the other week is like the difference between. I mean, the reason why we're more happy to play something like Mario Maker than we would be to like dip into Dreams, and it's partly because that's so focused and we kind of know what we're supposed to do already. Whereas with Dreams, it just feels like obviously it's a massive canvas of you can create anything you like from this, and that's quite daunting.
Which
for
is amazing. Like, not to slag that off, but it's too much for people like us.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're actually a working dev team,
it's a shame you say that because reading this, I'm thinking, well, we should make our own dev team and we'll start making games. Look, we'll all buy Dreams after this. We'll get making. Give us a week. We'll understand the tool set. Week 2, we come up with a game idea. Week 3, start building it. We'll be done within a month.
Week 5, add online multiplayer. It's easy.
Week 6,
it's got to be
annual pass.
It's got to be a games as a service game, though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got to be games as a service.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to implement loot boxes and stuff.
Yeah, loot boxes, really egregious in-app purchases, obviously games as a service. I mean, we could basically remake Anthem, James, but good.
Yeah. Oh my god, we could make good Anthem.
And that's what it would be called, good Anthem. Good Anthem to you. And we should do that. So
yeah, we totally should.
Yeah,
500 quid, Media Molecule, we'll do it.
TCGS Studios is live.
Just subscribe at the $40 tier. That'll do.
And you can help suggest a plan.
Yeah.
If you want to help us with coding, just subscribe at the $40 tier. for a sweet 5% kickback.
Should we make this a Patreon stretch goal?
No, don't, because no.
We'll make a game in Dreams.
Yeah. We'll make if we can get to like $2,000 a month.
Don't say it.
But you know what will happen with that? If we do that, it'll just be Matt doing all the work, and it'll be.
That's true.
It'll be an incredible game.
Yeah.
I'll do. Yeah, you guys tell me what to do, and I'll do it all. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'll do for a game, but you guys have the ideas. I'll just do the doing.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's settled then.
Okay.
Yep.
Next story is that Xbox dashboard is getting another redesign. And
James, why didn't this link on from the previous Microsoft story?
Why does it have to? It's fine.
Because we're talking about Kinect and all sorts.
I know, but I thought I wanted to break it up. I wanted to break up the flow.
We just want all the Sony fanboys to just switch off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, they'll be livid.
Yeah.
So anyway,
furious.
They're redesigning the Xbox One dashboard again, and they're removing Cortana. And this time they're trying to make content more easily accessible. I mean, this is weird because, according to David, David, who is not on the show at the moment, he thinks it's totally fine. So I don't know why they're doing this because the Xbox dashboard's fine. And it says now Game Pass community in the store will be faster to access. I mean, this is something I've moaned about, obviously, but David obviously thought it wasn't a problem, and I was just making a fuss.
He's not here to defend himself. Does he think it's brilliant?
I don't care. It's. He thought that this was, something that I was moaning about for no reason. But it seems that Microsoft agrees with me that the design is bad because they've had another overhaul of the whole thing. So, is that. So anyway, as I said, Cortana's being removed, and instead players can use the Xbox skill for Cortana in the app on iOS, Android, and Windows, which obviously removes more. Yeah, removes more accessibility, from the whole thing. Yeah. But the design, the picture they showed of the homepage did look a lot better, I thought.
Yeah, it looks way better. Yeah, so it's got a bunch of 6 icons at the top of your recent games. On left hand side, very quick, I guess one button press and you can get to Game Pass and Store and Mixer, which is a bit annoying. If that was Twitch, that'd be a little bit better. But still, it looks like it's a lot more condensed. Rather because there's the Xbox home screen where you have keep scrolling down if you want to see other things, and even if you have loads of pins and make the pins as small as possible. For the content you like, it's still terrible. It's way faster to use on my X, so it's a million times better than it was on the original Xbox One. But the OS as a whole is still a bit hickledy-pickledy. So this is a big improvement from the screenshot we've seen.
Yeah, because with this you can just press one button and then you can get to your community or whatever and things like that, rather than having to go through separate menus to do that, which makes no sense. So I'm very much in favour of this. Obviously the Cortana stuff is probably annoying for people that use that, through accessibility reasons. But did either of you use this at all?
Because I was going to say, so are they axing Cortana completely? They're not, are they? They're still going to be on other devices.
Yeah,
okay. No, right. So it's still on Windows. Yeah, I was just. wondering.
Does anyone use it on Windows either, or is it something? Because it felt
not
like
that I'm aware of.
I mean, it felt like it was something that when it came out was like a big boom, sort of like, oh, Microsoft's done this, it's great, and then I never heard of it again, really.
No, I've never heard of anyone using it. It came up once at work, and because everyone was, there's this sort of conversation about, Google and Amazon, having digital assistants, and then there's this one woman in the office who still has a Windows phone.
Wow,
and she's like, and she was like, oh, mine's got Cortana on it. And then someone else was like, Cortana. And she's like, yeah, I don't know, why is it called Cortana? And when you're sitting there like, I know the answer, but I don't want to say.
Tell me
then everyone will know what I'm like.
You should have explained all the lore, Sean.
Well, see, in Halo 2, it's
she's a sentient AI that lives in Master Chief's helmet.
And there's a bit of relationship going on there, but it's hard to say. Right?
Yeah, it's sort of quasi-romantic relationship that develops throughout the series.
That's what you're doing with your Windows phone.
I'm a big fan of the redesign. It's just the only
And there was a recent trailer where she wasn't in his helmet anymore, and it was very sad.
Oh, I cried. You'll probably cry too on your Windows phone.
That was awkward.
Sad.
Okay.
But, I mean, Cortana. I mean, as I said, as someone who liked Connect before, with Connect gone, I don't really use any voice things. I mean, I guess how do you do? I mean, even with a headset, how would I do that? Do I press the home button and the Xbox button and press a button and hold something down?
You can just say it. You can just say like, "Hey Cortana," and if you're wearing a headset, and it will pick it up. It does work. It's just awful.
No.
It's just one of those things where, as we've said before, why couldn't they have just fit a microphone in the controller or something like that, so that it was just always available? So you could do that.
In the controller or just in or on the machine, so you can.
I'd
walk
probably
in
set it for in the controller. I think because I think people still have concerns about the privacy stuff, don't they? About things listening all the time and everything.
I would like it in both because often the controllers aren't on, so. But I want to be able to walk in the room
and say...
Yeah,
so if you want to turn the machine on, you need...
So I'd have it in both, and then maybe if people who are conscious of security, they can turn off on the machine, or mute on the machine, but have it on their pad. But because pad's never on, I want to be able to walk into a room and say, Xbox on, go to Twitch, or go to this, go to that, which is what I used to do
tell you what, though,
daily.
I used to use Xbox On, or rather, like when we had that, because we had the TV tuner thing as well, and like Asher's first experience of using TV was using that. And I remember once we went on holiday somewhere, and there was like a TV there, and I went into the room, and he was just shouting at it, "Xbox on, Xbox on!" It didn't work.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was great. That was, but don't use that anymore. But I mean, I think it's a shame because a lot of the voice control stuff it has improved. Like, I mean, especially like Alexa's really good, and I don't really get why they've done this.
Was really good.
Yeah, Siri is still terrible. It's
yeah. It
freaks me out. Like I always forget that the PlayStation 4 has voice control.
It does, and it works. It does work.
Yeah, it's okay, but I still never use it. It's like every time I plug a headset in, it's like, did you know you can use voice commands? And I was like, yeah, but I'm all right.
See, the only time I ever really use voice commands is if I'm driving. I never use it any other time because why would you? It's slower.
I do like if I'm getting dressed in the morning and I want to know what the weather's going to be like for the rest of the day. I know everyone jokes like, oh, everyone just uses it for finding out the weather. I find it really useful for finding out what the weather's going to be like.
Just look at the bloody window, Sean. You know what I mean? What's wrong with you?
Like, if I lived alone, I would get more out of it, right? Because I really like the idea of, so with Google Home, you can set up like your morning routine.
Yeah.
So you can use it as your alarm, and then you wake up, you say like, good morning, and then it goes through like, here's your favorite news sources, here's the weather, here's your travel time to it. Like all that stuff would be great, but generally speaking, when I get up, there's someone else in the room who's probably trying to sleep.
Yeah.
or I've just got to go and like get Isaac because he's kicking off and he wants to get up or whatever. Like, so that's just not a thing.
See, I get that with the because you can ask it to like play you the news and stuff like that, just like a news bulletin, and I quite like that. I think that's quite handy, but I still feel stupid saying it. And so I often, for ages,
I'm over that. I don't mind.
Who do you feel stupid about hearing that?
In front of myself, just in front of myself, I feel stupid I'm doing it. Do for ages, Matt, I was trying to think, like with Siri shortcuts, how you can create, I was trying to figure out how to use a shortcut to activate that so I didn't have to say anything. So I could just press a button instead, but it's not possible. And yeah, that irritated me.
I love it. It's like a Zen koan. If if James talks to a sentient AI but no one else is around to hear it, is it still shameful?
It's still shameful. Yeah, I'd still feel embarrassed. It's like...
Yeah, no, I don't mind that at all. I say thank you and stuff because I feel like it's a good habit to get into for when they really are sentient. I use it every day for setting timers. When I'm cooking. Yeah. And if I'm in the car, really obviously, like maps and this and the other. Also, so just for playback of like Spotify and podcasts and stuff, because we've got 3 Google Homes in the account in the house, and I've set up both the downstairs ones as a pair, so that you can just go play this on the ground floor. So if I'm doing housework and stuff, it's really useful. Yeah,
I keep forgetting to do that because we got a Google Home when Spotify were giving them away for free if you sign up to a Spotify family account. And I never had Alexa and stuff before, so it's a new thing, and it was quite cool at first. Editor's asking loads of questions about science and all sorts of volcanoes and stuff, and it was oh nice, you can say something and it'll play it, but I just rarely bother actually these days.
See, I don't want people hearing what I'm listening to. I use headphones all the time because I don't want people hearing what I'm listening to. It's I just don't like that. I don't like it.
It'll be different when Isaac's older and judging me because suddenly everything I like will be old dad music.
Yeah.
That'll be hard. But at the moment,
well, I've done it before. I mean, Chen's just can you turn this off?
But that's the thing, Sean. You won't listen to it anymore because you'll listen to whatever Isaac's listening to.
Really, I just won't have any choice in the matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of Taylor Swift on in the house at the moment, and it wouldn't be my first choice.
Matt? You don't do that. You impose your own regime of music.
Enjoy themselves.
No, don't. She wants it, so have it on.
You impose your own what music you like. They have to like that as well.
I would never have Slipknot in the house or Bring Me the Horizon. It's just, I mean, I played it, but she's not a fan. So yeah, we'll have a bit of Moana soundtrack, Frozen, Taylor Swift.
Nice.
I'm actually growing to quite like Taylor Swift. Actually, I think the most recent album was okay, and the new one's out in August. I'm just doing it on behalf of Editor, of course. I'm just engaging in it for Editor's sake.
Do it for the girls. Do it for the girls, mate.
Yeah, big fan. Where were we? Oh yeah, Xbox. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As long as it's faster, that's all I care about.
Yeah. Okay. Next story is about this whole Doom thing on Switch. So,
no.
Well, I'm just going to do it quickly. We'll just go through it quickly because it is absurd.
Yeah.
So, Bethesda surprise launched Doom 1, 2, and 3 on Switch this week. And
that sounds like good news. Okay, next story.
It does. Sure does.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they did this at QuakeCon. Yeah, they did it at QuakeCon. Everyone was really happy. And but then people suddenly weren't happy when they discovered that you needed to log into a Bethesda account to play the game. And so this needs to be done once, but people still weren't happy about that. And it spawned lots of memes of people just saying, how dare they, do this whole thing and everything. So Bethesda now have since said that this was intended to be for the Slayers Club, something that they run. And they're working on a fix so that it's no longer a requirement. It was supposed to be. I think they tried to argue it was supposed to be a nice thing that they were working on, for bonuses or something like that. But people were still livid about the thing. I mean, I think. See, because I bought this and I did it. I logged in. I thought, okay, that's fine. And I just kept playing.
What did you think when you first saw that screen saying log into your Bethesda net account?
I wasn't terribly bothered, to be honest.
But did you have one?
No, I didn't. So I just created one.
Can you do it on the console? Did you have to go to a separate device and then create one and log in? And
I did it on the console.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I just logged in and it was fine. And that was it.
That's weird for you to say it, James, because I thought you were the sort of person to be like, what an absolute joke. Right, so another password to remember. I can't believe this.
No. If they were asking for it every single time that you played the game, you had to keep logging in and stuff like that, that would be absurd or whatever. But for this, it was a one-time thing. Other games on the Switch do this as well. With Civilization 6, whenever you start that up, you get a splash screen asking to connect to 2K games and stuff like that. And it's yeah, sure, it's annoying, but it's a second, and then it's kind of done. And if you play Doom in offline mode, anyway, in airplane mode, you don't get that anyway. It doesn't happen. And so I just don't really care that much about this. I mean, I think there's
one of those. I mean, people have been very upset about this.
Well,
and
I've got a theory about it.
It's been very strange to watch. It's because it's Doom, right? Because it is surreal to the point that it's quite funny seeing a screenshot of Doom with the text unable to access online features without a connection to Nintendo Online. Yeah. in the font and everything. Like that just, like there's part of my brain that can't understand that being real. It's like when you see colour photographs from the early 1900s, you're like, what? That's physical. I thought everything was black and white then. Like, it's just, it is weird and jarring, and I can see why people are just like, well, the fuck, this is Doom. How dare you touch Doom?
Yeah.
But, God, people got really upset about it, didn't they?
But I think people got upset not just because of that, but because it's another reason to hate Bethesda. And it's like, after Fallout 76, Blades, and also Commander Keen, and all the whooping at the other thing, I think people are just on their case at the moment, aren't they, with everything? Like, whatever happens, and there's been, I've been reading about, the new Wolfenstein game as well, like, there's issues with that as well, with the whole trying to push it as a games as a service thing, which people aren't happy about. It's like, it's just another thing, really, it feels like, to, like, beat Bethesda with. But... Yeah. I don't think it's that big of a deal, personally. Like, I'm not really that bothered by it. This is it.
Like, it's so... When you see the reaction to stuff like this, and we all know that people who play video games fucking suck at voting with their wallets and actually, like, not rewarding this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, actually, it's like, are you being principled, or do you just want to make a community manager have a really horrible fucking week? Like... So, yeah, it's just really ugly.
There are bigger things to be bothered about with it. I mean, there's other things with Doom, which I'll talk about later, that I think maybe could be improved. But aside from that, I don't know, I'm not really that bothered. What do you think, Matt? Would you be livid about this?
Yeah, so it wouldn't bother me. It bothered me if I had to do it every time, or I had to be online, which is, when I first saw these people tweeting about this, I'm like, hang on, you don't have to be online to play the game, surely. But if it's just like a one-time thing, then you can play it offline.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me, but obviously a lot of people like to get their pants in a twist. It was worth it for all the memes. So the memes were absolutely brilliant. The whole, like, Bethesda not a net account is required to play this game. Please connect to the internet to continue with, like, Mario 64 and, like, Super Mario World and Street Fighter and stuff. It's, I was loving them.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
But,
worth it for them.
And to be clear, I'm not, like, defending Bethesda. Like, the idea that they're suddenly turning around and going, oh, this was meant to be optional. Bollocks.
Yeah, it was not.
I don't believe that for a second. But, it's just, what a weird little event this was.
Yeah, I mean, as I said... Would I prefer it wasn't there? I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. It just doesn't bother me that much. It's just it doesn't bother me. But
I mean, like, I do hate it when like other publishers have their own little ecosystem and you need an account and stuff, like like Ubisoft do it as well, and you just like, why are you making me do this? Just like, it's not actually good.
Yeah,
because then you would just, you would just wait for me to just do it naturally. You have to force me to do it because I don't want to.
And I know that you're just doing this to harvest all of my data. Yeah, that's exactly. Like the reason you're doing this, to get everything.
So, like, it is shit. But God, just the reaction from some people is just.
I just don't get. Yeah, I don't get the anger. Is the thing?
No,
it's
no. It's also because don't buy the thing. Just don't buy the thing. That's you. That's it.
It's another way to hate Bethesda, isn't it? For people who are still pissed off about Fallout and that.
True. What else?
Okay, this is the last story, well, kind of the last story. So this is another one. This is Rockstar have added a casino that can be played with real money. Although that's a bit of a misleading title. So the news hit the BBC as like GTA 5's latest update added. It's the Diamond Casino and Resort to the game. And what it is players can now buy casino chips purchased with in-game money. But the thing is you can buy the in-game cash with real-world cash. But the issue is that you can't cash the chips out at all, like into like real-world money.
So you can't turn them back into it. I mean, that on the face of it, that sounds like the worst casino ever.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But then the thing is that...
remember.
But then the thing is that is how most like online gambling, although are we supposed to call it gambling with an asterisk or whatever, works, isn't it? Is that it's the same, because this is what happens when like MPs in the UK declared that FIFA's like in-game packs and loot boxes were not gambling, because there's and the reason is because there's no cash out. Like you can't get any physical value from these things. So because of that, it's not gambling. I mean, I happen to think that's bullshit, but that is what they argue. And I mean, this is the difference also with Red Dead Redemption 2, because there's gambling in that as well. But the difference is that you can't buy in-game currency to play the game. Like it's just the currency you get in the game to play it. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I mean, Matt, what do you feel about this?
Well, the whole gambling thing, actually, it's only like, was it this week or last week where like the UK have officially said it's not gambling, just for the reasons, and obviously Rockstar know what they're doing. I mean, the fact you can like buy like shark cards in the real world with real money for this. I mean, if I don't think it's gambling. It's like you're basically buying something. Like it'd be gambling if you're like, I can win my money back or I can double my money. Like you're not getting anything out of it. So it's basically like another like a microtransaction, like buying cosmetic. Really, you're not going to get anything out of it other than some fun time. It's just
an enjoyable activity. Yeah, like there's no. Yeah, it's hopefully not sold as a potentially profit making exercise. It is just you are paying to just have you're paying to just play it, and that is that.
Yeah.
Like but it's, I don't know.
I mean, I feel that this is not. I don't think this is simple at all. I have sympathy with the argument that this is a game played by adults, and they have the right to make those choices as to whether they want to do this or not. I agree with that. However, there are some people, I think, probably that play games to escape from other like real world like gambling addictions. I've read, there's lots of articles about this, and this feels like it could help feed destructive impulses in people that probably they don't want to sort of do, if you see what I mean. Yeah,
because to just be like, look, here is a version of gambling where you're not going to make any money, but I still think the sort of, the Skinner box impulses are still being lit up in the same way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So it's potentially still really unhelpful and really unhealthy.
But this is why I think that what they should do is, I mean, I wouldn't say that these things shouldn't exist, but I do think there should be like clear warnings when games do contain gambling, like either in the form of loot crates or like the casino stuff or whatever, and just give people the choice, but help them.
Yeah.
What I think they should do, I really think people should be helped to make like well-informed choices about what they're doing. In this game has this kind of thing. If you feel that you're trying to escape from that, then probably steer clear of this because it's probably not a great idea. But everyone else go for it.
Not just going, well, it's not real, so fuck it.
Like, exactly, because it is. I mean, for some people it does. I think it probably does feed into that. It's not so good.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any chance of like you winning money, then I'll be looking at this totally differently. So I personally gamble on like Grand National, but mostly like football accumulators and something other when the season's on or World Cup's on or any day where someone's kicking a football, and it's fun, but I obviously don't go mad because I don't lose all my money. But that's totally different. I'm not gonna get addicted to get in inverted commas gambling in GTA because I'm not going to win any money. So I'm just like, I'll just give my character some money. I think it's totally different. I can maybe see how you potentially worrying about it. Being an issue for people who've had gambling problems in real life, but I mean, you can also say about I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, what are we saying? Like no gambling in any games? I'm sure these games do have some sort of warning, and if you were able to actually win money, they would have an even bigger warning.
Yeah,
but that's not the case.
As I said, I don't think you should people shouldn't be prohibited from doing this, but I think they should just be made aware of what it is that the game contains.
Because at the end of the day, like people have become addicted to games for reasons other than financial. The promise of the financial payout. Like games are smart enough to get people hooked without that. So I think this, and so putting something like this in a game which is modelled after forms of gambling that people have found genuinely really harmful and genuinely really addictive is potentially really dangerous. But as you say, it's not. I'm not saying like get rid of it. It's just, as you say, it's just about allowing people to make informed choices. But I have no idea how this is presented in the game. I've not checked it out.
No,
but there was also like a daily limit. Like you can't just keep spending and spending and spending. I think it's only like basically like a maximum of like $1 a day you can even spend in it.
So that's really interesting as well, because then that would indicate to me that they do realise that people were going to have a problem like with this, which means they do realise this is gambling. It's like if they put limits on it.
I feel like they say, well, some people could theoretically spend lots and lots of money on this thing that isn't gambling, so they're not even maybe just putting loads of money in with thinking that they can get some money back. So yeah, it's good they're putting limits. I don't how surely them putting a limit is a good thing, right? You see that,
it is a good thing, but then it's also admitting that it is a form of gambling by doing that.
Well, is it that, or is it just protecting someone from going crazy with gambling or not? Like you know, I could also be obsessed with buying skins in Overwatch or something. You know,
but they don't put limits on that, do they?
No, exactly. But I feel like they should do. But I don't necessarily think that's gambling. I think it's just like Rockstar are trying to be careful, and so they're trying to protect people before they go crazy and spend all their money on this fake money in game. I don't think it's necessarily them saying, "Well, it's definitely gambling, so we're putting a limit." Sure, that's just protecting people.
But then why do they need protection unless it's something which is potentially
for the reason
harmful?
I just said, because they don't want because they don't want boys bad news stories of someone saying I spent $2,000 in a day. Like they want to protect themselves.
So it's potentially harmful.
So James basically saying that
gambling, but yeah, obviously it's potentially harmful because anything where someone could spend real life money on something that they're not going to get a physical return, it's a worry, it's a risk. So it's definitely troublesome, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'd admit that it's or them accepting or saying that it's gambling per se.
But James, so basically you're saying they're having their cake and eating it, right? In that they're sort of not wanting to fully say like, oh, by the way, this could be really harmful, but implementing things to try and prevent
to limit it anyway
really
from
harmful.
going too far, whatever.
Yeah, we suggested they do know that it could potentially be harmful. They're just
When the fun stops, stop.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. BeGambleAware.org.
Yeah.
We got anything else?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Mr. Shy Smile from
I know
the
what this
Discord.
is going to be. Go on.
Yeah, I thought I'd just put this in. So he wanted to let us know that there's, like Drive Club on the PS4 and its DLC, it's all getting delisted on the August 31st this year. So if you want to buy it now because it's going to be gone in the next month. And yeah, I
mean, it's a good game. I wouldn't if you haven't already bought it. You're probably okay now.
I like Drive Club VR. That was good when we played that.
I've never played the VR one. I played it briefly. It was one of the few games. I know, Matt, it really sent you funny, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
You started being really sick, and I wasn't great with it either.
Sean, it's on my account, so just download it and play it.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, we'll do. But yeah, it's more just sad in general what happened to that game and the studio and everything. It's shame. But yeah,
and that's it. That's all the news we got this week.
Cool. Right, what have we been playing? Matt, your list is the shortest. Do you want to go first?
Let's go with the big game of the week, Fire Emblem, surely.
I'm the only one who's been playing it, so it wasn't really going to be like a big thing.
I bought it. I've got it, but I was busy. I was busy playing another game. I want to get it done before I can get properly stuck in. You've also got it, haven't you, James? But you also have time. Is that correct?
I'm fingering the coin right now.
Oh, don't say
fingering. I've also got the coin. I gave it to my wife, and she did not want it.
What was that coin only a pre-order bonus? Because I went to Game to buy it because that's the only place nearby that sold it, and I was hoping to get a little cheeky coin in a bag. Was that just a pre-order thing?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was.
Annoying.
Yeah. You can have. I'm pretty sure you can have both of ours if you want.
No, I don't know what I'd do, especially now James has fingered his. I don't really want to touch that dirty coin.
All right, I'll talk about Fire Emblem then. I am fully fucking obsessed. With this game.
Okay, that's good.
I absolutely adore it. So what's really interesting? So I thought I had like a general idea of what this game was going to be. It turns out I absolutely didn't. I had no idea about the whole school thing. For those who aren't aware, so normally, so in case you somehow don't know what Fire Emblem is, fantasy turn-based strategy games with a heavy emphasis on sort of the relationships that you build up between your units, both like, doing stuff sort of between battles, like having conversations or doing stuff for them, but also when you are in battle, like sort of arranging your units in certain ways so they can potentially help each other out in combat, and they build like their relationships build as a result, to the point that you can start marrying them off and let them have sex and stuff. It's a bit weird, but it's all right. It's all sort of tastefully done. Awakening, if you haven't played it, did this amazing, like this really fucking clever thing with that, where it turned out that time travel was kind of a thing. So you'd literally you'd get like two characters in a relationship, and then a time portal would open, and their 20-year-old child would come out like, "Hello, I'm Mum and Dad."
Really?
Yeah. So basically, the story is that like the apocalypse like basically happens. So then all the kids of your soldiers in the future are trying to get back to fix what happened in the past. So basically, the people that you sort of married off would then affect like which characters you then got from the future, which was incredible. Whereas the whole hook is that you're a professor at this like academy. It's all like it's all very religious, which is a bit weird. Like you basically it's this academy for like people who want to be like officers like, and generals and stuff. But it's all run by the church, which I find really strange. But whatever. And you're like this mercenary, and due to reasons that are not entirely clear, they take you in and be like, "Hey, do you want to be a professor at this school? We're short of a professor." And then you pick one of these 3 houses to be the professor of. And it's just a really interesting twist on, like, obviously, we've had tons of like RPGs and strategy games where it's like, here's your characters or your units or whatever, and you work with them over time and you develop them and they get better, and you sort of you like develop your sort of own little favorites or people you're maybe not so keen on. So to then sort of put a spin on that by going like, oh no, you're literally like their teacher and at a school, but then you also like you do classes with them and you figure out like the sort of path you want them to take through like the class system and stuff, and therefore what skills they need to learn and stuff. And you sort of guide them through their tuition and then take them out on fights. And and that stuff all sort of comes to fruition in battles and stuff. It's fucking great. It's so good.
So you take the role of like the house leader. Is that you?
Sort of. There's like, so like the 3 characters on the box art, each of those is like the heir to the throne of their particular house or whatever. So they're like the main person, but you're sort of, but then you're teaching all of them, even though you're kind of like the same age as all of them. It's a bit weird.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. So what house have you chosen?
So I've gone with the Leicester Alliance because the other 2 are Tory as fuck.
Really? I was going to go Black Eagles.
Mate, they're like...
Because
so the Black Eagles are like basically an empire, and then the other ones are like a sort of mad sort of... I know they're probably not mad, but they're like really religious, and they're like a theocratic state. And the Leicester Alliance are just like, it's just a bunch of guys doing what it's the cool liberal place. So, so I went with them.
So Matt's gone with the Tories.
I was going to go Black Eagles because because there's some attractive people on that team. But now I realise you're like a teacher.
It's true.
Now I'm thinking that'd be a bad thing.
Well, this is the thing, because you can literally have relationships with them, even though they're your students. But you're all the same age, so it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, but the whole like teacher student, the whole like teacher student, that sounds problematic.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm going Black Eagles. You can't stop me.
Please do, because I'd be interested to hear like how different it is. I suspect not that much. I know they've said like, it's like 80 hours per house. Sorry if you can hear the dog.
Oh no, we can
definitely
hear the
dog. Mara, piss off. She's just decided to wake up and be an arsehole. So there's 3 houses, and like, it's 80 hours to complete each one. I mean, as much as I love this game, I don't think I'll be going back to play through as a different house. I think, from what I can tell, I think things will more or less play out the same way. Like there hasn't been like any major story events that are very clearly just relevant to my house and no others.
That is a relief. I'm very relieved about that, because
the
idea of having to play it like 80 hours times 3 is a bit. Yeah, that's a bit daunting.
And plus, like, I was sort of quite surprised that, like, I assumed the whole point was that the 3 houses were going to be at war at some point. Whereas, as far as I can tell, that's not really a thing. It's more about, like, they're all in sort of at peace with each other. It's all about the sort of politics of the church instead, which I sort of don't really care about, but it's fine. Like, there's story-wise, there's enough going on, sort of, like with like my class and the people within it, and like some like really obvious archetypes, like one character who's like a bit younger than the rest, and she keeps like being like, everyone's treating me like a child, it's so annoying. And then there's this other woman who's really mysterious, who doesn't like talking to people, and whenever people try and talk to her, she goes, I'm no good at conversations, I'm gonna go now, bye. So that people will be like, I'll look after her, I'll be her best friend, it's fine. So stuff like that's a bit weird. But basically, there's like plenty of like really likable characters in it, and they're all pretty well written and acted and everything. And it's got that excellent Fire Emblem thing where like a character that you think is like fairly unassuming. Like there's this one character on my team called Ignatz who has like a fucking bowl cut and these stupid circular glasses, and he just looks like a shit nerd. And then like in his first fight, he's an enemy went to attack him, and he definitely should have died. He had like no hit points left. And he dodged 2 enemy attacks in a row and then did a backflip and shot an arrow and got a critical hit and killed the enemy. And I was just like, fuck yes, Ignatz, my fucking boy. Like, and now he's one of my favourites. Like, it's got all that stuff that if you've played Fire Emblem before, like that is all still in there. It doesn't like massively bombard you with characters as well, like which some of the previous ones did. I felt you'd end up with like 20 odd characters, but then it turned out you could only take like 8 of them into each fight anyway, and you felt like you were constantly like managing like sort of like if a character doesn't take part in fights, then they don't get any experience or whatever, so you constantly be feeling like, I need to kind of bring in people that I don't really know or like, just to make sure they're not completely shit in case I do have to use them one day. That just hasn't been an issue in this. Like my whole team has been with me for like every fight. So that's been really cool. Like the way you like manage your lessons. So like every, there'll be like main story missions. That like there's like one a month, and then every week you plan out your lessons. So you'd be like, right, I want like you to like learn about, like you sort of look at like what class you want people to end up as, and like, right, what skills do they need to get there? Like each sort of class has like certain skill requirements, like so you need to have like you need to be like a B grade in using a sword, or a C grade in using a lance, or an A in horse riding or whatever. So you need to figure out like what skills they need to learn on the way, and then you sort of go to each student and be like, right, these are the skills you need to learn. And occasionally they'll come to you and be like, I've decided I want to be this class, so I want to focus on this. Is that okay? Which you can kind of say yes or no to.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't just be like, no, shut up. I've already got.
I'm the teacher. Sit down. Shut up.
Yeah, and then there are like, and they have skills that they're like naturally good and bad at. And there are. I've not looked into it properly yet, but apparently there is like some sort of bonus for like pushing people to do stuff they're shit at. Which is quite interesting. So you can have someone who's like really obviously supposed to be a sword fighter, and you'll be like, I want you to be a priest. And apparently that sort of pays off in interesting ways. And it's got this perfect cycle between, so every week you plan your lessons, then it gets to the end of the week, and then you can like explore the monastery, which is it's Hogwarts. It just is Hogwarts, which is fine. And you can explore and like talk to people and go like eat dinner with your students, or invite them around for tea, which is weird. And all there's little quests you can pick up, and then you can do like little skirmish battles, or you can just get like one of the other lecturers to do a guest seminar, which is
okay.
So like one of the other professors like might be like an amazing sword fighter, and you're like, right, I've got like 5 kids here who want to learn about sword fighting, so I'll just do a seminar. And it like shows you like, oh well, if you pick this professor to do a seminar, here's who's going to show up because they want to learn about the things that this professor is good at. And yeah, it's just fascinating the way you just constantly cycle between this stuff and then actually doing battles.
Yeah, I was going to ask about battles. So like the weapons triangle's gone in this game, isn't it?
Yes, controversially, yes.
So has that? Obviously, I've only played Fire Emblem Heroes, but has the weapons triangle been in every Fire Emblem game?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, until now.
So that sounds like a really massive change that they've made.
It does. I have to say, I've not really missed it. It hasn't really bothered me. It seems to be... So yeah, basically your melee weapons are like swords, axes, and, lances. And it just seems to be like, well, swords are your all-rounder, axes are more powerful but less accurate, and lances are, less powerful but more accurate. Which is fine. But I think the way they sort of hope it mixes it up this time is that you now have all these like, I think they're called like combat arts, which are just special abilities that you learn as you improve with a certain weapon type. And then within that you'll get abilities like I've got a couple of like sword users who have got an ability called Axe Breaker, so that using that then makes them better at killing like enemies that are wielding axes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because the idea of the weapons triangles are like swords and magic or something would get better against axes or so on and so forth. There's always like I guess on the mobile versions, like if you're like a certain colour, that was always better about a certain colour, but weaker against one. So
yeah, exactly. It's just rock paper scissors basically.
Yeah.
Sean, are you playing this on like with permadeath and all that, or
nah? Fuck that noise. I can't. I always like get a bit annoyed when people are like, oh, you should play it with permadeath, or else it's not really. You're not really playing it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because I bounced off the reason, I've mentioned before, I bounced off Awakening initially and then came back to it and really loved it. Part of that was just going, do you know what? Fuck off. I'm going to play on casual, because I don't feel like I'm not playing the game properly, because it's still bad when people, die in the middle of a mission, because it completely puts you on the back foot for that mission. And it means that character's not going to get half as much experience as they could have got, and it's a pain in the arse. So you're still doing everything you can to avoid a character, getting to 0 HP in the middle of a fight, but it doesn't mean you want to reset the game every time it happens. To be fair, in Three Houses they have added essentially a do-over button. So if stuff goes wrong, you can basically hit the button. You can rewind by a number of actions, which is good. But yeah, I've not had many people fall in combat, but those times that they have, I've been really relieved that it's not like a total pain in the ass. Especially because go on, sorry.
No, yeah, okay. So permadeath, you obviously characters will die, and then that's it. And then new people join your team, or to make up for the reduced numbers. How does it work?
Not really. They well, this is the thing, right? In the earlier Fire Emblem games, as far as I'm aware, the whole interesting thing was that if characters died, they died, and that was it. And the story would work around it, which was really interesting, especially for the games being as old as they were. Whereas in Awakening, if a character dies, they don't actually die. They just get injured and can't fight again, but they're still in the story, which just seems like a bit of a cop-out. It makes the system way less interesting to me, which is why I didn't really mind playing on casual. And as far as I can tell, it's the same here, but you can recruit people from other houses, but only when your stats get to a certain point. So I'm 10 hours in and I've not been able to recruit anyone yet. So if people were just dying left, right and centre, I think I'd be screwed. There must be some way out of it, because otherwise you could just totally screw yourself over in the first few hours and then just not be able to do anything. So I don't know. But yeah, I've never been a fan of the permadeath stuff.
So for me, having never played a game like this, you think I should just go non-permadeath?
Yeah, I would. As I say, it depends how you think you can deal with the stress of maybe losing people. If you're happy that every time that happens, you'd be like, right, okay, well, I need to rewind a few steps and rethink this. Fine.
But is that what I would do, or would I just carry on with that person gone and I'll just have to move on?
Oh no, it's totally built so that you can rewind and try and fix things. Yeah,
so it's not really permadeath, is it?
Well, yeah, this is the thing. So I'd rather just turn it off and just.
How do you normally play as James these games?
Sorry, James is falling asleep.
No. James, are you playing the game right now?
No. It's I play the same as Sean. It's I don't go for the permadeath because I find it very irritating, to be honest. It's yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I cannot wait to get playing it as soon as I've got this other game finished. I'll be all over it. And you've obviously been away, haven't you, this weekend, James? So I guess you're going to be. Is this going to be your game now for the next few weeks? I guess, James.
Probably, yeah. Because I started it up this afternoon for I don't know, about 20 minutes, but I've obviously nowhere in it. So yeah, this will be this.
It does. The only thing I'll warn you about, it does really front load the Hogwarts shit. You literally you do one fight and then it's an hour of here's how the school works before you actually get to do another fight, which is really weird. But it's it is worth it eventually. It's still a bit obscure in terms of I've been already had to Google how certain things work or where certain things are in the menus. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I have like no complaints about it. Like I'm just absolutely like fully absorbed in it. I'm enjoying it so much, and because it's not just like endless fights or it's just endless school shit. Like the balance between the two is spot on. I'm not getting fatigued with it at all because I'm just constantly doing something different.
One thing to another,
yeah. So yeah.
Do you think this game? Do you think this feels like just another Fire Emblem game, but in a good way, or does it feel more like, say, like a Pokemon Let's Go, where like people said, well, this isn't a mainline Pokemon game. It's like it's mostly a Pokemon game, but with like quite substantial changes to make it a bit easier for larger audiences. Do you think this is that, or is this Fire Emblem as you've always known and loved it?
Neither, I think. Like there's changes are substantial enough that you can't really just accuse it of being yet another Fire Emblem, and yet like you can play it on hard and with permadeath if you want.
Okay, cool.
So like the challenge is absolutely there if you want it, and as I say, the systems with the whole sort of tuition thing as well as the combat itself are so deep that like you can just spend forever just like tinkering with your team and figuring out like where you want them to all be, when they reach a certain level or whatever. And the whole, like, okay, so yeah, the triangle weapon system is gone, but you still need to like always be thinking about your positioning and like making sure you've got like melee characters at the front and then like magic users or, archers behind them or whatever, and constantly like everyone's covering each other. And then once you get into the relationships, it's like, well, I want these two to have sex, so I'm going to make sure they always stand next to each other in fights.
Because I remember you and James spoke about this when I was talking about Fire Emblem Heroes, a couple of years ago, whenever it was. You were saying about in the other Fire Emblem games, like if people were together on the battlefield, that meant they had like better connection or
bonds
something.
between them. Yeah,
builds bonds. Yeah, so that's in this as well.
Which as well as being a slightly creepy story element, it does pay off in gameplay terms as well, because the better relationship between two characters, the more likely they are to like help each other out in fights. So like, you could have a character that's about to die, but because someone that fancies them is stood next to them, they'll like dive in and like block the hit or whatever, and it's like properly exciting when it happens.
This is why it was called Awakens, because I remember by the time I got to the end of that, it's like my two, like I had several characters that were so close to each other, you could just burn through anything basically. Yeah,
basically, it's like you've just got a series of like married couples just like swanning around the battlefield, just constantly like helping each other out and like joint attacking enemies and helping, blocking. Yeah, and it's just it's so good. And like the drama of the way those little encounters play out is like still really excellent.
Yeah. And is every Fire Emblem game in a different universe, or is there ever any? Is there ever any connection to other characters, or do they drop in, or is it like, or?
They do. So I know like a lot of the games reference like Marth and stuff.
I was going to mention Marth and like Roy and.
Yeah,
the people
like the legendary heroes. As far as I can tell, this hasn't referenced the others. But then I'm not like a massive Fire Emblem nerd, so maybe it has referenced stuff that I've just not picked up on it.
Excellent.
It's real good. It's on the list, lads.
Really?
On the list. Well, so far, I mean, I'm like 14 hours in, and I basically just don't want to stop playing it.
Imagine if this won Game of the Year. That'd
be all right, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, I mean, speaking of, I've played more of the Outer Wilds. I don't think I've got a huge amount to add other than still finding it really engaging. Like, it's really fascinating just going back to old planets and suddenly finding like a new place to visit and then getting a bit more text that then explains, because the story's completely non-linear, because you're just traveling around finding, bits of writing and stuff. I'm reading a lot of stuff that just makes no sense, and then suddenly I'll find one place that puts it all into context. I'm like, oh fuck, right, okay, and that's why I saw this, and that's why this happened. And that's been really satisfying. And yeah, just every time I play it, just something amazing happens that I have to stop playing. Like something that makes me feel sick, or like properly just in awe of how weird and brilliant it is. So yeah, I'm still cracking on with that. But like the fact that Fire Emblem has like pulled me away from the Outer Wilds for like a bit, like really speaks to how brilliant they both are. Like, I'm properly like just wish I could play them both forever, basically. What else? A couple of short ones. I've been back on Beat Saber. Well, because I've been hijacking Matt's account and playing on his, but I figured it's 25 quid and I absolutely love it. I should probably just buy it. So yeah, I've bought my own copy now. And hang
on, Sean, are you playing this on Oculus or on PSVR?
Oh no, this is on PSVR now. Which is fine. The wire is a thing, but obviously because we've slagged off the Move controllers, but like for Beat Saber they're absolutely fine because all you're doing is waving them around.
Yeah.
And it's proper good. They recently added like 3 free songs, which it's more EDM stuff, which as I've said, I like. It's not that I hate it. It's just like that's what like 90% of the soundtrack is in the game. But some of the songs are absolute bangers. So that's been really fun, and it's a good little fucking workout as well.
Oh, definitely is that. Yeah.
Yeah, like half an hour on Beat Saber. Like my arms are wrecked the next day.
The weird thing about Beat Saber is like, it's an amazing rhythm action game, just amazing fun. But also for a music game, the soundtrack is not great. It's really unremarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's like tracks I played more than others, and I would recognise them, but I wouldn't be able to give you the names. And I'm sure if you're hammering this game, you would. But it's not. Our definition it's as instantly recognisable soundtrack. After a while, it sort of seems to sound quite samey.
Well, because like most of the songs are by the same guy, right?
I know it's got quite a small sort of list of artists, but
yeah. But then, when like one of the best songs is that fucking League of Legends one, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It is very good fun, that song. So I've just been doing like sort of 20-30 minutes on that every night. It's been proper good.
How far have you got in the campaign on that?
I've barely touched the campaign, man. I'm just going to free play.
Yeah, even on medium difficulty, I was getting quite stuck. I'm not even sure what level I got to in it, but
I got hardly anywhere with that. That's why I stopped playing it, because I was just like, I'm really bad at this.
I can do quite a few on hard, but there's a couple where I have to knock it back down to normal again. Yeah. Beat Saber, it's wicked. And just very quick one. I felt I should talk a bit about House Flipper on account of the fact that I streamed it for nearly 4 hours last week.
4 hours. I couldn't watch it live, but then I came on like 11 o'clock briefly as I was making a cup of tea or whatever it was, or going to bed. And then it seemed like you were about to stop. And then in the morning you said, I shall stream for another 2 hours after that. You were about to go to bed, and that was like 11:30 or 11 or whatever.
Yeah, I was a weird old time. This is a game, it's been out for like a year. I only recently heard about it and assumed it was new. It's really not. It's a game where you buy shit houses and do them up and then sell them for profit. And
sorry, I hate people that do that. But go on.
No, I know, me too. But it turns out it's really good fun. So
it's not for us people trying to buy a house. It's not. It's
no, I know. It's gentrification to the extreme, but. It's great. It's really good. So you start out just doing like odd jobs, but like you start out, you don't have enough to buy a house, and so it's an interesting way of basically doing a tutorial, because like eventually you're going to learn how to do like a bit of plumbing and fit lights and switches and a kitchen and stuff like that. So to teach you the ropes, it'll just be like, someone will give you a job where it's like, one of my radiators is fucked, please put a new one in. So that's how you learn how to do radiators or whatever. And then basically you start, like, you go to buy your own house, and initially the only ones you can buy, it's like, oh yeah, this house has been on fire. Someone definitely died in it, although it doesn't say that. And you basically, and you have to everything's really hands on. You don't just like click on things and they magically happen. So like you have to go around with a mop and clean everything. For some reason you can clean up fire damage with a mop, but whatever. And then it's just this weird mix of like sort of weirdly sort of meditative, repetitive actions combined with like a bit of like home design, because obviously you can make things look the way you want and put in furniture and stuff. You can put up posters of any image on your computer. So I had the image of pool boy Matt at uni.
I saw that.
Watching over my bed, seeing what I'm up to.
I saw that when you were doing your room tour towards the end.
Yeah. And I put up a big photograph of me in the suit with my arms folded. Massive picture of Frank Sidebottom as soon as you walk in the house. It was great. It was so much fun. And God bless him, there was like 14, 15 people still watching at 1 a.m. when I finally finished it. So yeah, thanks very much to everyone who watched that. It was surreal. I really needed an early night that night as well, and I just ended up because I got to like 11 o'clock and I was like, I just bought a house and like started. I was like, well, I can't stop now, but I'm sure I'll be done in like an hour. And then, the next thing I knew, it was 1 a.m.
Are you going to go back and play again?
Well, I think I will, because, like at the moment, I'm juggling 2 Game of the Year contenders. And I'm still like, should I just spend this evening doing up a house again? Because that was quite nice. Weirdly compelling. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it did seem quite a chill game. Quite quite satisfying.
Maybe it's one of those that like it worked because I was streaming it. Like, maybe if I was to just play it on my own, I'd have to like stick a YouTube video on or a podcast or something at the same time, like. Because it is like, even though you're doing a lot, it's not intense at all. It's like really chilled. So I think probably I'd need something else to like entertain me while I do it. But I think that would be a really nice time. That was weird. £10 that cost me.
Brilliant. And if you didn't watch Sean stream live, like the entire 3 hours 46 minutes is on our YouTube channel. Just search.
Yeah, if there's something wrong with you, go and watch that.
If you want a nice chill thing to have in the background, yeah.
Buy it for £10 and then sell it on for 70 later on. That's what you need to do.
That is me this week. Who wants to go next? I don't mind.
Okay, I'll do it as James is too busy playing a game and probably I guess.
I was waiting for you to jump in, Matt, because I thought you'd want to. So,
James, you playing Fire Emblem?
I'm not playing Fire Emblem, of course not.
Well, you're doing something.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here.
Whatever, mate.
Yeah, I
don't know if I believe you.
I might check the Switch online and see what James.
I'm already checking. No, he's not been online for 2 hours. He's in the clear. He's fine.
Yeah, no, he's probably. Can you set offline mode on Switch?
You can, yeah.
Yeah, he's done now. Of course you
can.
Of
course you can. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not getting caught out again. Okay, yeah. I've been playing A Plague Tale: Innocence. I talked about this very briefly last week, so I just started it last week. And I was actually need to apologise to Sean and James. I was late for tonight's pod because I was desperately trying to get this game finished.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I'm on the penultimate chapter, and I was like, I played...
Just to be clear, I messaged these two basically explaining that I was having trouble getting the baby to sleep and stuff. I was like, I'm really sorry, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. And Matt was like, sorry, I'm running late as well. And just left it. So I was like, oh, Matt must have some like bad shit going on as well. He must have some personal things he's got to deal with.
I was sitting here from 8 o'clock. I was just sitting here waiting.
Playing the video games.
Well, you didn't need to, because Sean said it was late, and I said, okay, brilliant, Sean. I was like, when that message came through, I was like, thank God, I might have a chance of doing this now. But I didn't. I was up because I was away on this weekend, and so I could be like 6.5 hour drive yesterday home, and I did that silly thing where you I'm really knackered anyway, it's been a busy weekend and a big drive, so I have a couple of coffees, and then I got home and I was still wired, and then I was like, it was like basically I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning last night because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I might as well just keep playing through Plague Tale, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna get it done. I just need to get it done before the pod, and even doing that and playing before tonight, I'm like a chapter and a bit away from the end, which is really annoying. Anyway, A Plague Tale: Innocence. I've really massively enjoyed this game. I mean, I'm right near the end, so I think I can pretty much talk from a good place. So it's basically this action adventure stealth game. The obvious comparison is The Last of Us. And it feels quite Last of Us, but also it feels like a AA game. And it's amazing what I've done. Like, graphically, it looks absolutely gorgeous in parts, considering this isn't a AAA game. It's not a massive franchise from Sony or someone else, Naughty Dog. It's a studio. I mean, I think last week you might mention it's quite a tiny studio. I've actually since looked, and actually I think they've like beefed up a lot, maybe since. But basically, it's like it's a Saber studio, and before this is their first sort of original IP. Before that, they were doing like licensed games, but Ratatouille game, did like a Toy Story game, maybe like a Cars game. But this is their first original game. You play as this girl called Amicia, and she's basically looking after her brother. Her brother has this something basically involving him and his blood, and that links to the plague that's currently happening. It's all like France in like the 1300s, so the plague's about, but your brother is clearly very key to what's happening. He's incredibly poorly. He's been poorly all his life, and although your brother and sister, the sister's never really hung out with her brother because her mum has been like, trying to look after him and keeping him sort of sheltered, to try and get him better really. So the first moment you meet, everything's fine, but it very quickly goes wrong, and then it's just you two. And it's a really interesting relationship because although you are brother and sister, because they don't know each other, it's more like a parent or guardian, or maybe you're looking after someone's kid. It's quite a weird relationship at the beginning because they don't know each other, and like the kid's just being a bit like boisterous and a bit naughty at points. But it's really fascinating, really excellent how that relationship develops into something that's not just two strangers who are meant to be family, but actually there's a real bond that develops, and the writing is absolutely fantastic throughout this game.
Matt, did you change the language in the end, or did you?
I did, yeah. So last week you mentioned about you can, yes. So that's the first thing I did after when I first started playing. Yeah, so I played it all in French language with English subtitles, which is really fascinating. I have never done that before. I guess I played the original Shenmue in Japanese, but that's because it was Japanese. But I've never changed the language in a game to have like in its native language, but it was really excellent. It really added to the atmosphere, I think, of the game. I had a couple of issues with it because you obviously have the subtitles of the person who's talking currently on screen, but there's lots of points where both you, Amicia, and your brother. So there's two lines of dialogue, and then suddenly you might be overhearing conversation with someone else. And a couple of points, I actually lost lines in the dialogue because the subtitles are so quick. Because and the event basically is only like essentially showing two lines of dialogue at once. But when it's you two having a conversation and then someone else comes in, you're like, I thought that was a bit of a shame at points. But yeah, playing in French language, I think it really helps the atmosphere. The gameplay is it's quite basic in many ways. It feels almost like a 360, or maybe earlier, like sort of stealth game, in that you're trying to navigate tons of these different environments, all of which look gorgeous. And to do that, you're going into tall grass. You're maybe like throwing. Amicia, has got this sling which you can use to chuck rocks at armor, basically these big sort of wooden boxes of armor. You chuck a rock at that, and that makes a noise. A guard goes the opposite way, and you sort of run behind them. It's quite basic in that regard, but it's no less fun for it. It's still just fun and well made, even if it does sort of feel like it's quite a basic stealth game. What I did like is that there's very, very little combat in it. So many sort of games I feel like have been ruined. Because now it just changes. Now you're shooting 1,000 dudes. And this doesn't do that. There's two boss battles where obviously it has to change, but apart from that, it's there's no real combat. It's really just you navigating the environment, going through the story as you're trying to basically avoid combat, avoid enemies, because when an enemy sees you, it's one hit kill. So you can't really.
Right.
So when they catch you, they can see you, and you can obviously throw them off guard and lose them if someone sees you. But if they get you, it's one hit kill and it's game over.
Was that frustrating at all, did you find?
No, not really. I mean, it's a really, really quick restart. I had a couple of frustrating bits, not when them finding me specifically. Well, I guess it is related to that. It's more like basically there was a couple of bits where I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and I basically had to die to sort of work out what the next stage was. I've talked to other people and they don't have that issue, so maybe it's just me being rubbish. But there's a couple of bits I'm like, am I just supposed to keep failing until I work out what the real solution is? There is some super minor puzzles, mostly involving light, because the thing I haven't talked about is all the rats. There are thousands of rats as you make your way through 13th century France. And they're obviously an enemy because they hate the light. So if you set things to light, the rats sort of go away because I don't like that. But that also means that if, say, like an enemy is holding something that's lit, so they can see where they're going, if you can extinguish that, the rats can go get them. So you're both using the rats. You're both trying to escape them, but also you can use them as a tool or weapon in your arsenal as well.
That sounds like Dishonored. You could do that in Dishonored, which was
I never played Dishonored games.
Yeah, if you took the sort of more violent path, you could use rats for a lot of things, and it was very effective.
Yeah, and this game it can be incredibly sort of gory, and I mean rats don't scare me, and like sort of that sort of stuff doesn't really bother me. But like there are points where you see like what looks like thousands of rats on the screen, and you can send them towards a guard, and they get basically eaten alive, and you hear a lot of screams, James. So I'm sure you'll be a big fan of this game, actually.
Yeah, but I don't like rats that much. I had to kill one in Shanghai once. It was horrible.
Oh, you don't like them because you're scared of them, or you just don't.
I just don't like them. It's
Wait, sorry. Can we hear the rat killing story, please?
well, no, it was horrible because it was what
Did
it
you
was.
wring its neck?
No, I didn't. I hit it with a shoe, but it was
Hang on,
Almost as bad.
You tread on it like.
no. What didn't tread on it? Are you joking? They're huge.
Went at it like you had a little slipper.
No, what it was because this was just after Rachel had been born, and we were living in this not very nice apartment, like in Shanghai, and it was quite close to the dump, and there were lots of like. I mean, we were on like what was it, the 4th floor? Like we were quite high up, and one night I was sleeping in the other room because I had to go to work the next day, and crying baby, all that kind of thing. And then Chen came in, and she just said, "There's a burglar," like or something, like in the like in the apartment. So I woke up and like went into the room where this noise was coming from, and like at the end there was like these curtains where there was like the window, and so I like pulled the curtains back really fast, and there was nothing there apart from a big rat that then ran it ran across and then ran like underneath like our what's it called, our sofa, like that was in the room. And it turned out that the noise she was hearing was this rat was under the sofa, like gnawing at it and making all this noise, and it was disgusting. So in the end, we had to like hit it with a shoe, and then I chucked it out the window. And I think because the thing is I'm pretty
So
certain.
to imagine that's what James would have done even if it was a burglar.
Well, no, because it was concussed.
Banged off across the back of the head and then way out the window.
It was horrible
Done.
because I never realised like how they could climb up walls like that either. I mean, that was the really freaky bit was when it climbed up the wall, and then I think I concussed it, and then I chucked it out the window. But then
you concussed it. You didn't knock it out. It's like it's got concussion, so probably a few days lying down.
But I chucked it out the window. But in the next morning, I went down there and it had gone. So I assumed like a cat had got it or something. So
Hang on. He's fine.
rat
He just went
gone.
home.
Yeah, the rat had gone, but there was a car that had a massive dent. It basically like as a write-off downstairs.
it was
There's a hole
horrible.
in the
It was not a nice experience at all. I just don't like rats. Yeah.
So just to clarify, you don't think you think the rat was still alive as it was flying through the air from the 4th floor?
No, almost
You don't
certainly
think
the fall killed it, but it was still gone. So I'm assuming a local cat had got it, like at the end.
a local cat.
Yeah, well, because there was tons of cats there as well, like just like
Local
around the
cats
neighbourhood.
operating in the area.
Yeah.
Oh god, a local cat.
Man. Well, I'm glad we've turned this trauma into an entertaining experience for
It
our
was not
listeners.
insane. It was horrible, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, the rats are fantastic in this.
Yes.
And the way they act and the way you can use them for your own devices is brilliant. Yeah, I think the writing's excellent, graphically is excellent, and it's. I mean, I heard it's like an 8 to 10 hour game. This is probably taking me closer to like 12 to 15, maybe.
Okay.
I think it says like 13 on the Xbox app, but and I haven't quite finished. But yeah, if you want something that's like a simplistic game, it's not hugely innovative, but also there's no levels, there's no pass, there's no in-app purchase. It's just like play a simple, nice game with really fantastic writing, looks gorgeous, loads of atmosphere. I really recommend it. Actually, I was really gutted I wasn't able to finish it before the pod, but I'll have that done probably after we record this, so I can maybe talk a little bit more. Probably not next week, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I knew nothing about it apart from when people started saying, "Oh, this game's alright," and then seems to come out from nowhere.
It was one of those that I've been intrigued by because people recommending it. It wasn't just like, "Hey, this is good, you should play it." It was people being like, I know you are going to skip this, and I hate you for it. Like, do you know what I mean? It was everyone was like, do not ignore this because it's really good, and I know it's just got the whiff of a game that people will be like, I don't know what it is. I can't be bothered. And yeah, it's like, no, go out of your way to play this.
Yeah, and like,
so
I said, I haven't finished it yet, but I really hope there's going to be more Plague Tale stories, because it's a really fantastic like universe, and the characters that are in this game are great, and I love to see more. Like, if this is an example of, it is obviously their first Asobo's first original game, so I'd love to see more writing from this team and more characters in this universe, or maybe another one, but. Yeah, I've been really, really impressed. So I'll definitely recommend it. I mean, when I heard it's like a young, sister, with like a sort of a, I don't know how old he is, maybe 5, 6, 7-year-old brother. I was like, oh no, there's a child in peril all over it. I've been fine actually with this. There's a couple of moments where. It was less than fine, but still, it's bad to say, but still nothing as bad as Detroit, and some other games where it's like really, really affected me. But I recommend this for sure.
Cool, good. James, what you got?
I've got a couple of things actually, because I played like a couple of like short games when I was away, because I was, like when you don't really want to start anything because Fire Emblem's coming out, and so I wanted some short stuff. So I've always been interested. It's called A Normal Lost Phone. These games. And these are kind of like puzzle kind of games in a sense that are like narrative adventures. And they came out on like iOS and Android like quite a long time ago, but then they also got Switch releases. I've never heard of
these games.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So they got Switch release recently, and they were cheap in an eShop sale. Like, they were about £3. Like, they were not really very expensive. And as I said, I've been meaning to play them, but I don't play games on mobile very much because I'm weird like that now, and I just wanted to play it on a console instead. And they work great on the Switch because you can hold the console like vertically and then use the touchscreen, and so it does feel like you're holding a massive phone. Yeah, which is, I mean, if you want
Dom Jolly style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's huge and really, and it makes you realise how thick like the Switch is. But you can also play it on TV as well. But it would kind of feel like you're defeating the point of doing that, because it's like, it does feel quite nice to have it in your hands, and it like operates like a phone. So the main conceit of the game, of both of these games, because I played two of them, I played a normal Lost Phone and another Lost Phone, and they're both kind of, I don't know, how do I put this? So what it is, I mean, you found a phone, and you read like the text messages on the phone and the emails and the notes and stuff, and then you have to kind of like piece together like how or why the phone was lost or discarded, and like what the story is of the person that's sort of lost it. And there's like a whole bunch of like sort of relatively simple puzzles. Like, you kind of figure out, like, you do stuff like you have to figure out like the Wi-Fi password so you can connect to the internet, so that you can then like re-download like new email and stuff like that. And you work that out by like reading through emails and stuff where they give you hints as to like, oh, it's the zip code for, this area, like in the US, and then you just type it in and then it works. Or maybe you need to like open a password protected file, so you like go through like someone's like text messages, and you can find out that it's like someone's birthday or something like that is the date. And most of them you can kind of figure out by being observant, like about the dates and times in messages and stuff. But there's a couple of times when I was like, I have no idea. I don't know what this can be. So I did like look up like a couple of them, which I felt bad about because it kind of, obviously it defeats the point of it. But then some of them I looked at it, I thought, I don't think I'd ever have got that. That was quite difficult, like how that came about. But each of them kind of tells an interesting story of things that I think are generally not covered very much in video games, like both of the stories. And I don't want to say, I'm not even going to want to say what the topics are, because then it will completely ruin what it is. Because the whole point is that as you're playing it, it gradually unfolds what this is about. And if you know what it's about, it will really ruin that, like that sort of... Because what it does so well that I thought was really cool is that because you're reading the messages, you're often reading them sort of out of order chronologically, because they're meant to be paired with other information that you find later, which is like set to the different, like at a, in a different location on the phone. And it does a really good job of not making, like, it's not that it makes the earlier messages make sense, but it gives them a different spin so that you look at them in a different way, and they kind of have a different meaning compared with what you thought they meant in the beginning. And that, I think that's quite good writing. The writing for that was really good. And I mean, out of the two stories, I preferred the first one, which was for the A Normal Lost Phone, and there was like aspects of it where I keep thinking about it actually after I finished playing it, where I was just thinking. I mean, I wouldn't say it changed my perspectives on anything, but it made me think about things like more, which I thought was was pretty good. But I mean, have either of you played any of these? I mean, Matt, you said you haven't.
I haven't.
No.
No,
But
I
it does
haven't.
it sounds really fascinating, actually.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You don't know the twists or anything, do you?
I know nothing about these games.
I think I know the twist in the first one, but yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, if you know the twist, it's maybe not as good. Maybe not, but then also it'd be still interesting to see how it all like unfolds. But I mean, also these are not long either. You can do them in like just over an hour or two, like an hour or 2 hours or whatever. It's and you can like pick it up and sort of play again whenever you want. I mean, after you're done with them, there's not really a reason to go back and do it again. I don't think, because there's no branching stories or anything like that. It's really just sort of decoding like a story, based on what you get. But I would recommend. So I still think these are worth playing, especially because I think they are interesting stories. Which, I mean, as I said, I can't speak for whether they're like accurate or not, but I felt impacted by them. I thought they were good. So
cool.
Yeah, depends what other people think. And then the other game I played was another game which is very similar but quite functionally different, which was Bury Me, My Love. And I know you know about this, Sean, but you've not played it, right?
Yeah, I've bought it.
Okay.
But yeah, just not got around to playing it yet.
So this is also another sort of like phone game in the sense that you are interacting with the Switch in the same way that I was with the other ones, where it's like you could put it in like vertical mode and that, and use it as if it is a phone. And it's slightly different. It tells the story of a woman trying to escape Syria and make it into Europe. And
I remember this I get announced last year.
Yeah,
it looked fantastic actually.
So what it is you're having a WhatsApp conversation basically with her and you're like her partner, like going and like with where she's going and everything. And what it is there's much less interactivity in the sense that there's no puzzles or anything like that. It's just a narrative with occasional branching paths. So you choose, and what's interesting about that though is that she will often ask you for advice, like what do you think you should do, or like how are you feeling about something, but she doesn't always follow what you say anyway. So even if like you think it's a bad idea to do whatever, she'll call you back later, and it'll turn out that she's got ahead with it anyway. But then you can react to that, like sort of give like whether you're annoyed or with you understanding or that kind of stuff. And one of the things with this is, on the Switch, it does have some technical problems. It frequently crashed when I was and it was quite frustrating because it's like when you choose some dialogue paths, it just always crashed, like every single time. Oh. And so it kind of forced me to then choose other options I didn't really want to go for, but then I kind of had to. And I'm not saying this doesn't happen constantly, but it happened to me twice, like during the whole thing.
Yeah, and especially in such a narrative-focused game, that must be really jarring. So,
yeah. It's still stuck at version 1.0 as well, so I don't think it's been updated, and probably by this stage I doubt.
Because it's not a new game, is it? It's been out on other things for a while, so yeah.
But yeah, it just seems to have some problems with that. But then the other thing that this doesn't have, that the mobile version does have, is that, do you remember when the Apple Watch came out? There was all those games like Lifeline that came out. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I played Lifeline. It's great.
Yeah, so it's the one where you get messages basically during the day, and it's like you're playing along. This worked the same way, actually. It had the same sort of function whereby you would, it's quite cool, you send a message to her, and then maybe you'll have to wait, quite some time until you get a response, so it builds the tension. But unfortunately the Switch version doesn't do that, obviously, because it doesn't have that kind of feature. So what happens is, after you finish a conversation, it will bring up a black screen with the time, and then the time will wind forward. And it's I feel it's kind of lost something a bit with that, because you perhaps lose some of the tension. I think it's which is maybe a bit of a shame. I also know, I'm aware that this has also got a lot of endings. There are many possible ways for things to go, and I've heard that things can go really badly. And
I was going to say, the title of the game suggests as much.
Well, no, see, I was reading about that because it said it's not actually meant that way, and it's supposed to mean, I hope that I die before you, or something like that. It's kind of like it's supposed to be in a loving way of it's like bury me, my love, sort of. I hope that you outlive me, this kind of thing. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So but there are, as I said, there is apparently sort of horrific things that happen in it as well, because it is trying to sort of show sort of the reality for people that have gone through this sort of experience. And one of the things I thought was really good about it is it just. I didn't see any of that, is the problem. Because I got quite a positive ending, with this, and although I've heard things can go badly, I don't feel like I want to go back and try and experience that, because
let's see how we can make this worse. Like...
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I felt like I got the ending that I felt I'd earned that ending that I got, and I felt this is the ending this character's going to get. And yeah, I didn't feel, and also you can't like fast forward anything either, so you'd have to like go back and watch all the same dialogue all over again and try and figure out like the different paths. And I didn't fancy really going through that. But it is an interesting experience, though, particularly giving like this perspective on what is like something which is incredibly grueling and awful. Like you can't even imagine, you know, having to go through something like this. Yeah. And I recommend having a look, but maybe trying the mobile version rather than the Switch one, because it gives that extra element to it as well, and probably doesn't crash quite as much as this one does. And that's that.
Cool.
And I've got two other just short, quick hits, which was I played Castlevania because that was also on discount. You know, they had the collection,
the original.
Yeah, the collection that came out on Switch. You know, they had So I played through the first one of those. I mean, it's still terrific. I think it's just a bit really difficult without save states. But I'm going to play Simon's Quest next, which I've never played. So I've heard that that's a bit of a mess in terms of like it's supposed to be very good, but then the translation's awful and it's not clear and all that kind of thing. So figure that out. And then I've also played Doom. Because it was cheap and it's Doom, and it's still great. And the only things that I'd say I'm not so pleased about is the controls aren't configurable at all, so you can't change the speed of the sticks or anything like that, which is okay. But then it's funny because I don't think I would have noticed, but somebody on the Romark forum like said, "Oh, the sticks are too twitchy. You know, it's like too sensitive." And I think if somebody hadn't have said that to me, I don't think I would have noticed it. But then now. That's kind of in my head, and I do feel they're a bit too twitchy, which is kind of annoying. And one of the things that Andy Hamilton said on Twitter, which I do actually fully agree with, is this idea about, you know, people seem to have this idea now that Doom is like this sort of ultra-fast experience, you know, and it's like this ultra-fast, violent experience. And he was saying it's not, and I think I agree. I don't think this was intended to be this. It is a horror game with like monster closets and scares, and I think you're supposed to I think you are supposed to sort of play it quite, not slowly, but deliberately, like sort of going through it, you know, to sort of to get through stuff.
It. Like when Doom 3 happened, loads of people were like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, no, this is what they would have made if they had the means to do so. And like, I mean,
I'd say that the speed stuff, I think that just comes from multiplayer. It comes from the multiplayer scene and how that's how people were playing it in deathmatch, because obviously that was like the the big thing, and it's like that became embedded in people's minds that's how you play the game.
You can sprint around,
but
it's not a good idea unless you're really good at the game. Like, it's not advisable.
But it's still good. I mean, the music's a bit weird. I think I read somebody was saying it's a bit off for some reason.
It's like slowed down slightly or something.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it sounds a bit odd.
Weird.
But apart from that, it's still great. I mean, it's still Doom, isn't it? So yeah, I probably will play through it again because I've done that many times, and it's brilliant. Cool. Do either of you have any interest in getting this, or presumably not? I mean, it's cheap.
I'm probably not. It's not. Yeah, like obviously it's classic and always will be. Personally, no great need to play through it again though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't even played the original, but I have no interest in going back to it.
Oh, you probably should, man.
Matt, you should. If you've not played the original, you should, because it's a good game. I mean, it's like design-wise, it's fantastic. Like, you know, the map design, everything is really good.
And like people still go on about the super shotgun in. Was it called the super shotgun in Doom 2, or was it just double barreled? I can't remember.
It was a double barreled shotgun, but it kind of broke the game like a bit. I think,
did, but like people still talk about how good that gun felt, and it still does. Like, it's the sound design and the feel of it and everything are just absolutely spot on.
Yeah, just the regular shotgun.
It's £3, isn't it, on Switch?
Yeah. It's although you have to log in with a Bethesda account. Which
forget it.
Forget it. Yeah, no, just forget it. Yeah,
load of shit.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all I played.
Cool. Emails then.
Okay, if you want to email us, it's podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Tom Durbin has written in, he says, good evening, you magnificent specimens. That's weird, isn't it? I don't think of that. It says, recently I've been losing myself in the wonderful Slay the Spire. It ticks all my boxes as a fan of both roguelikes and deck builders, and it hits the proverbial nail on the head on both counts, but I almost didn't play it. From the trailers and gameplay videos I saw, it looked ugly and uninteresting, and it's only thanks to being on Xbox Game Pass that I ever gave it a shot. My question is this: is there a game you judged by its cover but actually loved after giving it a try? Then it says, P.S. James should definitely stream Magic the Gathering.
Yes, James, we are going to do that. I swear to God. I know I initially said we should do a stream where I teach you how to play it, and then I realised the game has tutorials.
Yeah.
So no, it'll just be a stream of us playing Magic the Gathering.
Well, no, you probably should still teach me, because the tutorials won't mean anything to me. I mean,
you'll be fine, honestly. Although I was talking to Chris Span about this, and he pointed out that you will definitely cheat and look at the stream so that you can see what cards I've got. So I'll have to engineer. Yes, you had. I'll have to engineer a way to cover up my cards at the bottom of the screen. But no, I think we should totally do that. That'll just be such a nice, relaxed stream.
You say that'd be great, but it's are they roguelikes though?
No. Magic the Gathering is just a straight up player versus player card game.
See, I'm not a fan of either roguelikes or deck builders, so this is what I'm worried about.
That's the thing, you don't have to, it's not roguelike, and you don't have to build a deck. You can just use a pre-made one, so it's fine. But yeah.
All right, maybe we'll do that.
It's Slay the Spire. Yeah, he's absolutely right. It doesn't look great. I know I was recommending it a few weeks back, but yeah, a lot of the artwork is deviant art level. Which I know is a really horrible thing to say, because a professional worked on that game and probably worked really hard on it, but I'm sorry, it doesn't look amazing. To actually answer the question, I'm trying to think. Something I thought looked like shit. I mean, The Biz by Chris Stevie, while we're talking about streams. I mean, that has no artwork. It is just purely text-based, and the sound effects are bad. And were it not for the fact that it was made by Chris Stevie, I would not have spent more than 2 minutes with it. And I only persevered because it was by him and ended up really loving it. But aesthetically, it's actually quite jarring. The sound effects, well, if you can call them that, are sort of all weirdly atonal and odd. It's actually quite unpleasant to listen to and look at. But yeah, it's a brilliant game because it's the writing and the weird way it simulates, managing yourself as a musician is just really fascinating. You guys got any?
I mean, I can't think of something where I've seen the cover and judged it. I'm sure it happens all the time, and I'm probably missing out loads of games. But if I think about
he doesn't literally mean the cover. I think he just means, as in judging a book by its cover.
Yeah. I took it literally though. I was thinking how bad was the Halo 3 front cover? It's Halo. You got all that amazing universe, and he's got some dude with a gun on the front. It's that's a 2-minute Photoshop job.
I still hate the box art to Fire Emblem Three Houses. By the way, the Leicester Alliance guy is very clearly just upside down. But yeah.
Yeah, he is. Well, no, I mean he is, and the graphic is upside down. I guess his hair is. Yeah, I know.
That's what I mean. They've just taken a picture of him and just went, just flip it. It's fine.
Well, no, because his hair is dangling down. I'll give him that.
That's just what his hair looks like.
Or maybe.
He's just got weird hair.
I quite like the box, actually. I think it's all right. I think it's quite nice.
Well, I think it's rubbish. Let's fight.
I mean, there are okay, I'm going to get pelts for this, but Undertale, I know people like that.
Oh, no, that's fair enough. I hate the way Undertale looks.
No, I can't. I'm sure it'd be amazing, but I don't look at that and...
No, that doesn't answer the question. That's a game you thought looked shit and then didn't play it. That's not what he's after.
Well, I've answered the question twice now. I haven't answered it. What's the question?
Matt, you have to give the standard answer of Days Gone. I mean, that's what we say for all these questions of what was something that looked rubbish or whatever.
No, because you both thought that looked good and you both enjoyed it. That doesn't answer the question either.
Yeah. What is this question?
Should we just move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the question, Tom. Let's get on to the tweets.
I tried, Tom. I'm sorry.
I answered it twice, though, Tom. To be fair, And
Yeah,
James answered it a third time, all wrong. It's at Computer Game Pod if you want to tweet us a question. 6squid at 6squid_games on Twitter on the subject of drifting joysticks, and since there seems to be a problem with the Switch and the revised PS4 joypad, which company's console do you think will still be playable in 20 years on the basis of hardware quality alone?
None of the ones we're currently using at the moment.
I mean, yeah, not the Switch. Definitely not the Switch. I mean,
got
obviously,
a controversial answer.
Oh, go on.
The 360.
It depends which one, doesn't
I'm being serious. I tried to kill my 360 because the HDMI port stopped working, and I was like, I had a component cable, but I was like, like the Red Ring of Death thing, like people can look at that console the wrong way and it'll get Red Ring of Death. So I looked into how you do it. I turned it on. Obviously, that's step one. I put Q-tips in like the fans at the back to stop the fans working, and I wrapped. Yes, hang on. And
you did the towel trick.
And I wrapped it in towels.
Fuck. Okay, go on.
Overnight, nothing. That thing is like that. I could not kill it. That's like so. It was all night wrapped in towels, and it had like things stopping the fans from working. Still alive, couldn't kill it. So my 360 definitely is a thing that will probably still be working. I could drop that thing off a building.
You were risking like a house fire or something to try and do this. That's insane.
That is insane, Matt.
Yeah, it does sound insane actually. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sure.
I mean, what made me laugh about the towel trick is I actually heard people insist that this was a way of fixing the Red Ring of Death.
Oh, really?
You ever come across that?
No.
Yeah, people insisting that if you got an RROD, wrap it in a towel and it kind of melts it back into place.
Melts it back into place.
Was it supposed to reseat it, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah. Wow.
Allegedly,
some people had limited success with it.
I'm
not convinced.
Maybe house fires.
I mean, yeah, obviously, this isn't. It's easy to sort of sound like you're slagging off the build quality of modern consoles. Obviously, they're way more complicated than they used to be. So, it's all very well being like, well, I've got a NES that still works. It's like, yeah, because it's really simple in comparison. And so, yeah, I'm not having a go at the build quality of modern consoles. But yeah, there's moving parts. Obviously, the lasers go on the disk drives. The hard drives as well will die one day. I don't think I've ever seen a hard drive that lasts 20 years. I don't think any of them are built to be honest. So they'll go as well.
What I like the DS. I mean, that had cartridge instead of disc. Like, or was that faulty? And I just don't remember any stories.
No, that was
DS.
Quite
I mean,
durable.
it's got the hinge, hasn't it? They just used to snap.
Oh,
yeah,
they used to
yeah,
crack,
yeah.
didn't they? Used to get like hinge cracking on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so two DS. Unless they
2DS.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Yeah, the 2DS redesign. That's a solid machine. That is, because Rachel's got that and dropped it tons of times, and it's absolutely fine. No problems with it.
Yeah, I mean,
the original Xbox One is an absolute beast. I mean, the bits on the inside, who knows, but
it's big and it's heavy, therefore
that's
it's probably fine. I mean, are we allowed to replace hard drives and stuff over time? Probably not, right?
No,
that's cheating. And then you're going to get to the Ship of Theseus / Sugar Babes debate. But
how much
if you
it is,
replace all the
actually.
component parts, is it still the same thing?
Shaboyne.
Yeah.
RIP.
Basically, yeah, I'm not confident about any of the modern ones. I mean, I've got a couple of Game Boy Micros that are still absolutely banging. The battery on them seems to have lasted really well as well. Yeah.
The biggest thing I remember, if I didn't play my Saturn for a couple of years or just put it away in the loft, is the only thing I had to replace was the lithium battery.
Yeah, that went straight away, didn't it? That was also really annoying in the Dreamcast as well. For those VMUs, how you used to grab those batteries. They were just not good.
No. There's nothing I can think of from recent years that I'm fully confident will survive the next 20 years.
Actually, thinking about it, I think my original launch Xbox probably will, because those things were built very solidly, even though they're terrible. In terms of what's inside and everything, but they had all those to stop them from overheating and everything. Mine is still very quiet as well, compared with everything else I own.
Do you mean your original Xbox One or your original Xbox?
No, my Xbox One.
Xbox One.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair dues. Well, we'll see. Let's we'll come back to this in 20 years when the show is still going. And
definitely
at
still
least
going,
one of us is dead statistically.
I'll put a reminder in 20 years' time. It's like, which console's still working, lol? And then
shall I ask the robot to set a reminder?
Yes, please do.
Hey Google, remind me in 20 years to see if James's Xbox still works.
Okay, on the 29th of July 2039 at 10:37 p.m. To get this reminder on an iPhone, you'll need to download the Google Assistant app.
Thank you.
That's that done.
That makes me so happy. You're most welcome.
Okay.
See, they love it.
See, that's what you get for saying thank you a lot.
Exactly, and of course, within 20 years, the robots will have risen up and taken over, so I'll be all right.
Yeah, and the last thing the robots say to you is like, right, some sort of menacing thing about James's Xbox.
I'll be wheeled out of robot prison.
Yeah,
because I'll have set this reminder.
Like, here's the Xbox, you bastard.
Yeah, have a go.
Luke Summerhays at Baskerlily on Twitter. In what game? But I'm saying, in which game do you confidently think you could be a World Cup finalist? Obviously, this is referring to the Fortnite World Cup.
Oh right, okay.
That happened last
I wasn't
weekend.
sure if you meant like in what games universe would you be good enough at football?
No.
What games? I mean, none, obviously, because I'd have a go if I thought I was capable of it.
For me, it's Sega Rally. I mean, maybe I need to probably get back into practice, but when I was at my best, I could be the ghost. Basically, you can get a ghost of AM2, who was the developer at the time, and I could beat the ghost. Me and my friend Peter played it all the time, absolutely neck and neck all the time, playing it in the arcades on Bognor Seafront, and I mean, that's probably the only game ever that I've ever thought I was alright at, as a Sega Rally for sure.
What if... This may not change the answer. What if you died and the devil said, you get to play me at one game, and if you win, you come back to life, and if not, it's hell forever.
Trying to get the first star in Super Mario 64. Yeah, the one on top of the mountain.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Is it a race? Yeah, race against the level. Okay, cool.
I'll still do Sega Rally.
Still do Sega Rally. Fair enough. I think I'd probably... what would I do? Would I try and do a punches only run on Cybernator on the SNES? I think that might be...
Go old school.
Yeah, why not?
Or maybe like, Wii bowling.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah, Wii boxing. I was shit out of that. I broke the, the chart
TV?
where it showed your skill level. I broke it. I went off the top of the screen.
Oh my word!
Because my skill level was so good. Maybe I should just be an actual real life boxer. I'm sure that'll go really well.
Definitely. I've told the story about how Wii Sports turned me into a freak, didn't I?
I don't know if you have, mate. It sounds good though.
So this is Wii. So this is many years ago. I was still living at home, or maybe I come home from university. Who knows? Anyway, and I was in my parents' house. They're obviously old. And so the house is like 40 degrees at all times. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's just hot. So I was just there playing Wii Sports in my room at the time in just my pants because way too hot to wear clothes. A bit like right now, actually. And in my bedroom at the time, I had like a full-length mirror, which is sort of basically in line with where I was standing playing Wii Sports a lot, and I was obsessed with trying to get 300 in bowling, and I was playing bowling every single day. I mean, I guess I was playing Wii Sports every day for all the sports, but particularly bowling. I was, every day just smashing frame. Is it a frame in bowling? Yeah, we'll call it a frame in bowling.
Yeah, why not?
And I looked to the mirror one day, and I noticed that I'm left-handed. My left side of my body was toned, shall we say, and the right side was not, and there was an absolute definite 100% difference.
Wow.
To the point where I went out, I was like, Mum, do you notice the difference in my body? And so, yeah, definitely left side more toned, right side. I mean, it was, and so...
Incredible.
I don't think I started bowling with my right hand, but I just maybe calmed down on the Wii bowling. But yeah, I just turned me into...
I'll just stop and just get fat instead.
Yeah, I get
even
fat on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could on right-handed, but I didn't want to, mix up too much. Yeah, so...
No, that'd be weird.
Oh, I miss Wii Sports, man.
Wii Sports is great. Fucking, man, if they did one on the Switch, I know
Bring
it
wouldn't
really work because... Like, people mainly use it as a handheld and stuff, but I'd play that.
Switch Sports, it'd be brilliant. It's,
Yeah,
just give me Switch Golf with online play. But then there's no good way of chatting with people, is there?
I don't care. No, just give me like Wii Sports Collection, both of them. I would pay. I don't care how much they would charge for that. And people will say, "Well, well, they're going to charge 60 quid for another re-release." I don't care. Wii Sports, get it on Switch. I will pay any sort of money for that.
Yeah. Wii Fit, use the Switch itself as the balance board.
Yeah, stand
stick it on
that.
the ground.
Perfect.
Yeah, be fine. Yeah, brilliant.
Rich Spurs 24. My 3-year-old calls Outer Worlds Marshmallows and Spaceship. Have your kids called any games anything different?
I mean, Isaac can barely speak, so no.
I can't think of anything.
You need to sort him out, Sean.
He's got like the names of all his favourite shows nailed now, but no, he hasn't requested games at any point yet. So
Oh no, hang on. Super what's it called? Mario 3D World. Rachel always used to call that the Cat Mario game. I mean, that's just because there's a Cat Mario in it. So
it's got Cat Mario in it, and it's a game. Like, you're going to tell her she's wrong? I'm not.
No. Hell no. When I was younger, I mean, I was a Sega kid. I originally thought the company was called Nintendo.
I mean, that's better. That is an improvement.
I know, it is, isn't it?
I'm not...
So, Nintendo. I'm there.
That's also the name of this episode, in case...
Oh, but I've got so many already. Thanks to James's like rat chat. Like local cat just made me laugh. I don't know, but maybe Nintendo. Right, last question now from Angry Kurt. If you were offered a chance to go to the moon with safety guaranteed, would you go?
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'd go. Why would you?
I would go with no safety guaranteed, but definitely. Like I mean, like I've talked to Jill West like way more times than I probably should have done. I'm like, with all like Elon Musk and going to Mars and stuff. I'm like, I would. Surely that's like the absolute pinnacle of anything anyone would want to do to see space, to see.
I mean, he's only
guaranteeing
safety, not comfort. I think that's an important thing to point out. It could probably still be a really harrowing experience in a lot of ways, but you'd have to. You'd be an arsehole to say no.
Yeah,
you?
I mean, like, what? It's either that or stay on Earth just watching shit TV.
Exactly.
It's like, you might as well.
Fuck Earth.
What better things have you got to do? You might as well get out of there. Whether it's safety guarantee or not, get the hell out of there. I would love to. I mean, obviously, I know like Virgin Galactic, is that still a thing? And they were charging $100,000 for the first sort of, flights.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's happening in the next couple of years. I need to get win the lottery.
Wow.
But I think
it would be very funny.
Could I still do that? It's like, no, you're not even allowed to do that.
It would be very funny to be the guy who was offered to just go to the moon for free and just, nah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Cheers. I've busy stuff to do. DVDs to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Or maybe someone who went there and came back, so like, it's all right. It's no One Towers. Like, it's fine. There's not a lot
Nemesis,
to do there,
is it? I mean,
It's like, if you go to like watch like, sport, if you go to like a live sporting event, yeah, it's amazing being in the atmosphere, but you will see better like, footage and better angles if you watch Match of the Day on TV. It's like, well,
exactly.
You went to the moon, but honestly, just watch Interstellar. Watch them, like, look at some amazing massive pictures on Google. Like, you'll get a better view of it. But yeah, imagine saying no to that.
It's weird, isn't it? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Well, we should all try and do that. TCGS trip to the moon.
Patreon stretch goal.
Imagine the live stream. Okay.
Fucking hell.
Speaking of which, let's get on to the end bit. Friday, James, are you back on Twitch streaming Quantum Break?
Yes, I'll be back.
Are you going to finish it this week?
I might. I was even considering starting earlier so that I can get more of it done. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say, I was even considering starting it again.
No. What is that confirmed? What are you going to do? Start early? 6 p.m?
No, don't be stupid. Maybe I could start at 8. Maybe I'll start at 8.
Ooh. Okay,
nice.
A brand new time,
Nice.
A brand new slot. Friday night, this Friday this Friday from 8 p.m, James is playing Quantum Break, but I've forgotten something, because actually, today's Wednesday, tonight is the first of...
So we've messed with the order, haven't we?
We have.
In a
it's
way.
all changed. This is a public service announcement. Basically, Play by the Bell is now moving to a new schedule, a new night of Wednesday nights. Because basically we're sick of messing Sean up. Every time we maybe couldn't record on a Monday, we had to record on Tuesday. Sean's streams being moved. If you had to do some other recording, we couldn't do it Monday. We do it Tuesday. Again, Sean's streams being moved. So Wednesday night at 9, Play by the Bell. And this Friday, as I said, James is back for Quantum Break from 8 o'clock. So he's going to get the game finished. And on Sunday nights, I'm here with Bloodborne Sundays every Sunday from 8:30. And Twitch Prime is a thing. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can link your Twitch Prime account with your Amazon Prime account, and you have one free subscription a month. And with that, you can give it to us, and we really appreciate it. We get a bit of money. The money goes on nice new cables and other stuff to upgrade our equipment. We really, really massively appreciate it. Everyone who's subscribed. And if you have subscribed, it doesn't auto-renew. So if it's been over a month, feel free. Please consider going back and subscribing again. We do massively appreciate that extra sort of income, and it's just great seeing people come back for the streams and whatnot.
Yeah, totally. And the money doesn't always go into show stuff. Sometimes it's just for crisps. But we still really appreciate it regardless.
Yeah, if I appreciate Chris more, if anything.
Yeah, to be honest.
Star Calls is out every Monday. On this week's show, Dave has watched The Force Awakens. It's an excellent episode, so please go out and find Star Calls on any of the podcast services on the planet. It's on YouTube as well. And we're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS. You can support the show, get a bonus podcast if you back at the $5 tier, some other bits here and there. Please think about supporting us if you like what we're doing. That's Patreon. And everything else, go to thecomputergameshow.com for all the rest of our links and bits and bobs and you know how it works.
If you're a $10 subber and you are thinking, oi, it's nearly the end of the month, where's my video? It's happening, promise. We're going to do that tomorrow, and then hopefully by the time, if not by the time the show goes up, certainly by the end of the day. We should have something for you.
Yeah, we tried to do it last week, had some technical troubles, and then but
it was a bad time. It was a lot of things went wrong. Some of them completely avoidable, some of them not. We should be good to go. It'd be like cutting it a bit fine, getting out by the end of the month, but we'll get there. And then we need to do a new bonus show the week after.
We do, yeah.
That'd be good.
The last one was massive argument about the Game of the Year stuff, so maybe it will go back to nice, relaxed stuff.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Say way too much about our personal lives.
Yeah, can't wait. Right, that's us. Thanks very much for listening. And this is, what's this? 2 hours 17-ish. That's all right. That's good. That's middle ground, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Plenty of gaming opinions in this show, I think.
Yeah. Not too long nor too short. Just right.
Perfect.
Right, cool. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the streams or on the other shows or whatever. Thanks for letting us be natural, basically. Really appreciate it. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.